Chapter 838. After the spatial tear finished closing, Ren Tianji disappeared, swallowed up by the spatial tear. This was the method that Night Sorrow thought of to restrain Ren Tianji's battle hunger, which gave him an endless supply of energy. Night Sorrow's body flickered a few times, and he returned to the edge of the realm sea. He drank some life spirit elixir and origin spirit elixir. He had to recover quickly because it was hard to say what would happen next. Night Sorrow knew that Jun Xuanji was a despicable person. When he was injured and in a bad state, he would most likely attack. She had the ultimate skill of the 4 ultimate combined attack. Yi Wuyo could resist, but it would be very difficult and there would be many variables. How is it? Yu Qin came to Night Sorrow's side and looked at the bloodstains on Night Sorrow's robes. Yi Shan shook his head and took off his tattered robes. He used his tattered robes to wipe off the blood around his wound that had already healed and quickly changed into a new set of battle robes. It's fine. If they still want to fight, I'll continue. At this moment, the space above the realm sea was still trembling. This was the struggle of Ren Tianji, who had been banished into the spatial turbulence by Yi Shang. It was impossible for him to escape from the spatial turbulence without a supreme technique that could break through space. Just as everyone was thinking about what would happen next, an old man charged out of the Profound Mysteries Realm's warship. His right hand slashed at the area where the space was shaking. After several attacks, a spatial crack appeared. The old man extended his right hand, and a large hand of energy reached into the spatial crack and pulled out the bloodied Ren Tianji. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The one who had attacked was Shen Wenxiu. This time Night Sorrow was unwilling. He immediately chased after Shen Wenxiu. He didn't believe that this saint would dare to attack him. Shameless, roared Yi Wuyo. He also charged into the sky above the realm sea because Jun Xuanji was blocking his path. This was the rhythm of a group battle. Retreat! Roared Shen Wenxiu as he pulled Ren Tianji away. Hearing Shen Wenxiu's roar, Jun Xuanji's body flickered and entered the spaceship. Then the spaceship left. This situation made Night Sorrow feel very helpless. He could only fire a few shots at the flying ship, but the ship's defense was very strong. Night Sorrow's 2 shots were useless and the fast-flying ship flew away. Night Sorrow and Yi Wuyo returned to the edge of the realm sea as they watched the warship fly away. At present, besides saints, only the 2 of them could fight in the air above the realm sea. Even half-saints would be affected. It's my mistake. I should have intercepted him. It's just that I didn't think that he would make a move in such a hurry. Since he made a move after you returned, it can't be considered as interfering in the war. It can be considered as saving someone. Long Shenxing said. It's nothing. If I can teach him a lesson once, I can teach him a lesson again, Night Sorrow said. Although he said so, Night Sorrow was still very annoyed in his heart. Because Ren Tianji was a great enemy. Except for him, no one under Saint Realm could contend against him. Well said. Well done. Let's see what other means they have. They won't be able to fight fair and square, Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Senior Heavenly Underworld Saint, the fall of the Western Nether region is a disgrace to the people of the 9 regions. Give me some time. I will stabilize and kill my way over. Night Sorrow looked at Heavenly Underworld Saint and said, Don't worry. The situation is very good now. The people of the Western Nether region are doing well in the 3 Yuan domain. Let's do it steadily. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Heavenly Underworld Saint hastily waved his hand. He didn't want his words to disturb Night Sorrow's train of thought. Last time, it was because of his impatience that Western Nether region fell into enemy hands. He didn't want such a thing to happen again. Long Xianxing and Xiaolanjun also told Night Sorrow not to worry. Since the situation had stabilized, they just had to fight steadily and surely. Night Sorrow called for Chanyu to go catch a wild beast while he returned to his tent with the others. At this time, the 9 regions world's camp was filled with a jubilant atmosphere. Night Sorrow had forced back the experts of the Profound Mysteries Realm twice, setting the tone for the upcoming battle. The people of the 9 regions also knew that Night Sorrow was currently the strongest person under Saint Realm. Night Sorrow's cultivation base wasn't the best under Saint Realm. It could even be said that there were many people with higher cultivation bases than Night Sorrow. But in terms of actual combat power, no one could compare to him. Even Night Sorrow's father, Quasi-Saint Yi Wuyo, was no match for him. Yi Wuyo and Jun Xuanji were evenly matched, but Night Sorrow was able to suppress and force Jun Xuanji back. Night Sorrow, the 9 regions saints, and the representatives of the 9 regions sovereigns drank together before returning to his tent. Good job. Yang Lei, who had just returned from celebrating with the God-slaying squad, hugged Night Sorrow and patted Night Sorrow's back. Following that, Night Sorrow also hugged Sikong Chuyu. Our efforts during this time didn't go to waste. Now that we've suppressed them, this battle will be easier to fight. Your efforts have paid off. Today you've shown your might, Sikong Chuyu said as he brewed tea. Watch little Q says Q, for free. At this time Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing also came to Night Sorrow's tent. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Yi Wuyo asked after sitting down. Right now we're looking for stability. I want to raise my cultivation base again because I still have a lot of room for improvement, said Night Sorrow. That's a good idea. You've just become a 9th rank sovereign, and you're still far from the peak of the 9th rank. That means you still have room for improvement. Your spiritual strength and innate bloodline power can both be improved. How about this? I'll go scout the path and see where their spatial channel is. At that time, you won't be in a passive position no matter how you fight, said Yi Wuyo. Father, I'll go scout it later. Night Sorrow shook his head. What he cared about the most was the safety of his family and the people around him. He didn't want his father to take the risk. I understand what you're worried about. After cultivating with Senior Long Shenxing, I've gained some insights into breaking spatial seals. This time, I'm only going to investigate the location of the spatial passageway. I won't fight with them so you don't have to worry. Yi Wuyo smiled. Night Sorrow hesitated. He didn't know if he should agree or not. Son, don't worry. I'm a quasi-sage. It's good enough that I don't kill others. If others want to kill me, they won't be able to do it, said Yu Qing with a smile. That's true. I'm just worried. Then will father go alone or bring others? Asked Night Sorrow with a smile. After hearing Yu Qing's words, he knew that he was overly nervous. After all, Yi Wuyo was a quasi-sage with the spatial attribute. He could use spatial cracks and teleport at any time. Then we'll continue to bring Monarch Yun and Venerable Wu Hen. The 3 of us work well together, said Yi Wuyo. Night Sorrow then called Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling over. He emphasized that the 3 of them were only going to scout the spatial channel, not fight. Safety was the most important thing. Chapter 839. After that, Yi Wuyo and the other 2 set off to find out more information. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow wasn't too worried. After thinking about it, he felt that it was fine. After all, Yi Wuyo was a spatial quasi-sage. Night Sorrow relaxed for 2 days before entering the 70th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda to continue cultivating his soul power and comprehending laws. His true qi and myriad Dao tone naturally improved. In the West Nether region's East Cloud City, something was wrong. Jun Xuanji's face was gloomy. Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo, who were sitting beside him, didn't say anything. The other higher-ups also had ugly expressions. Grand Elder Xian, what's going on with that guy? Why can't even my senior brother's slaughter intent restrain him? Jun Xuanji asked Xian Wenxiu after calming down. He cultivates a body-refining technique. His body is extremely powerful. His cultivation is a bit low, but his combat power can't be measured by cultivation. Also, his law power is very strong. It's very similar to the legendary sovereign attribute, sighed Xian Wenxiu. If we don't defeat him, we won't be able to start this war, said Jun Xuanji. No one said anything. That was the truth. Because of the Saint contract, the strongest experts below the Saint realm were in the 9 regions world. This made it impossible for the Profound Mysteries realm to attack. The information wasn't accurate. We fell into a passive position from the very beginning. Originally we said that without a peak saint we would be able to crush them. But in the end 2 peak saints appeared, and then the sovereigns made a mistake, said Jun Xuanji. At this time no one said anything because these things could not be predicted. Holy Maiden, let's not talk about the past. This is the variable of war. Now let's see how we can win this war, said Xian Wenxiu. Grand Elder Xian, if we want to win this war, Night Sorrow is a roadblock. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to change the situation. We can go around him, but if he attacks our troops, we won't be able to stop him. We won't be able to control the situation, said Jun Xuanji. We can't give up the war just because of one person. We still have to think of a way, said Yi Shantian. This time, the mysterious Heaven Sword sect had lost half its strength. He wasn't willing to just give up like this. If my senior brother paid more attention and didn't send him into the chaotic flow, would we win? Jun Xuanji asked Xian Wenxiu. Xian Wenxiu thought for a moment and said, sure, but your senior brother is seriously injured this time. He won't be able to recover without a period of time. As long as there is a chance, we can wait. For now, we will continue to manage the Western Nether territory and build a defensive line. Grand Elder Xian, treat my senior brother's injuries. I will also work hard to cultivate and see if I can make any progress. Jun Xuanji thought for a moment and made a decision. Yishang was steadily cultivating. He was no longer in a hurry. A few days ago he knew that Jun Xuanji definitely had a backup plan. However, he didn't know what it was, which made him very worried. After defeating Ren Tianji this time, Yishang understood that Jun Xuanji's backup plan was Ren Tianji. If X Translation's trump card was placed on the table, there was no need to be afraid of it. After a month of steady cultivation, Yishang finally came out of seclusion. Although Yishang's cultivation base did not improve much during this 1 month, it had become very stable and solid. Additionally, his comprehension of the power of laws had also gradually deepened. Night Sorrow went to see Yu Qing in Long Xianxing. The heavenly underworld sage was also in Long Xuanxing's tent. Night Sorrow, who is the person that my ancestor, the dark spirit saint, fused with? Asked the heavenly underworld sage anxiously. Night Sorrow said, his soul fused with someone else, so it's not him. Senior, why are you so persistent? I understand what you mean, but I still hope that this person can achieve something. He is another form of my ancestor in this world. Don't worry, I don't mean any harm, Tianming Saint said. If it's convenient, there's no harm in telling you, said Long Xianxing. Alright, senior heavenly underworld sage. Let's make it clear first. You can't have any plans to steal him, said Night Sorrow. Alright. I promise you. Seeing that Night Sorrow was willing to tell him, the heavenly underworld sage quickly nodded. He's my 12th senior apprentice brother. It's a long story. Night Sorrow told him about how the dark spirit saint had helped Guan Yi to be reborn. So it's like that. Actually, I've guessed 2 people. One is Guan Yi and the other is Qin Zhen. It really is Guan Yi, said the heavenly underworld sage as he sat down. Senior, what do you plan to do now that you know? Asked Night Sorrow. The heavenly underworld sage expressed his intentions. He wouldn't ask Guan Yi for anything. He would only guide Guan Yi's cultivation and let him grow. That made Night Sorrow relax. He had been worried that the heavenly underworld sage would ask Guan Yi to join the Western Nether region. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Jianghu. After that, Night Sorrow brought the heavenly underworld sage to see Guan Yi. He told Guan Yi about the relationship between the dark spirit saint and the heavenly underworld sage. The relationship between the heavenly underworld sage and Guan Yi was very strange. Guan Yi was clearly a junior, but the heavenly underworld sage was very polite to him. That was because Guan Yi had fused with his ancestor's soul. Senior heavenly underworld sage, my brother's talent isn't bad. You can give him some pointers. Night Sorrow also wanted to give Qin Zhen some benefits. Haha, that kid's not bad. It doesn't matter if he has a master or not. If he becomes my disciple, I'll teach him everything, said the heavenly underworld sage. Night Sorrow was stunned. He didn't expect the heavenly underworld sage to express such an attitude directly. In fact, the heavenly underworld sage had thought highly of Guan Yi and Qin Zhen. However, he didn't express it because he was worried that there was an ancestor between them. Now that it was confirmed that Guan Yi was related to the dark spirit saint, it was no problem for him to accept Qin Zhen as his disciple. Night Sorrow went to Qin Zhen and told him about it. Qin Zhen was naturally willing, but the sect couldn't change. Night Sorrow brought Qin Zhen to see the heavenly underworld sage. Qin Zhen expressed his willingness to become the heavenly underworld sage's disciple and insisted that he couldn't betray the Medicine Valley. That's not a problem. You're from the Medicine Valley. That won't change. However, you have to pass down the inheritance of the Dark Island, said the heavenly underworld sage. Qin Zhen nodded. He could accept this situation. Night Sorrow didn't care about what happened next. He went straight into the Spacetime Pagoda and started cultivating. Once Yi Wuyo and the other 2 brought back news, he would take action. He planned to bring some elites to the hinterland of the Profound Mysteries realm and start a war. At that time, the Profound Mysteries realm would be the one suffering, and the 9 regions world would have the upper hand. Yi Shang was using the Blood Spirit Turtle Crystal to cultivate the myriad Tao scripture, so his true Qi was naturally condensed. His main improvement was his control of the power of rules and the improvement of his soul power. As he cultivated, Yi Shang's control of the power of rules became deeper and deeper, and his soul power became more and more condensed. Chapter 840. After cultivating for 20 days, which was 10 days in the outside world, Night Sorrow finally came out of seclusion. He wanted to know if Yi Wuyo and the others had returned and if there was any news about them. When Night Sorrow came out of seclusion, Yi Wuyo and the others still hadn't returned. However, Night Sorrow wasn't worried. Yi Wuyo and the others all had vital crystals in the hands of their relatives. As long as the vital crystals were fine, they were safe. Over the next few days, Yi Shan relaxed his mind and calmed his emotions. On this day, Night Sorrow came back from the God-slaying squad's camp and found Wu Lingfei in his tent. "Auntie Fei, you've been in seclusion this whole time. I haven't seen you in a while," said Night Sorrow with a smile. "You've been working hard, so I naturally have to work hard as well. Otherwise you'll quickly catch up to me," said Wu Lingfei. "Auntie Fei, you must be joking." "I'm still far from that," said Night Sorrow as he prepared to brew some tea. However, Wu Lingfei stopped Night Sorrow and personally brewed a pot of tea. The tea that Wu Lingfei brewed was Dao Comprehension Tea, a king-grade tea. It was a type of spirit medicine that could calm one's heart, cleanse one's soul, and increase one's ability to comprehend. This was the gift that Wu Lingfei had received from Hu Shao when she had helped Grand Desolation City repel the beast tide. "This tea really is different. Drinking it refreshes my mind. Even my divine sea becomes much clearer," said Night Sorrow as he drank a cup of Dao Comprehension tea. Wu Lingfei smiled and gave Night Sorrow half of the Dao Comprehension tea. "You've been bitterly cultivating. Although you've been able to persevere, your mind is still very tired. If you have nothing to do, drink a cup to relieve yourself." Holding the tea, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment but didn't refuse. "The situation is good right now, so don't be impatient. They're the ones with a headache. They can't advance or retreat. If they can't take you down, they're worried that you'll cause trouble. If you retreat, they won't be able to explain themselves. Many of their people have died in battle," said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Jun Xuanji was in a difficult position. His attack had been thwarted, but he was unwilling to retreat. Night Sorrow was now waiting for the information. As long as Yi Wuyo and the others could obtain the location of the spatial passageway, Night Sorrow would set the Profound Mysteries realm on fire. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Wu Lingfei left and continued to cultivate. With Dongshuan's origin energy, Wu Lingfei's cultivation base had risen rapidly. She was now a 3-star saint. Liang Yu, who had Nanli region's origin energy, was the same. His cultivation base had risen rapidly. His cultivation base had originally been lower than Yun Huang and Linglong's, but now he had caught up to them and was even showing signs of surpassing them. After sending Wu Lingfei off, while Night Sorrow was drinking tea, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu had finished cultivating and returned. The two of them had also been consolidating their cultivation base during this period. "Night Sorrow, I'll be going into seclusion for the next few days. I want to break through to the Saint Realm. My cultivation base can no longer be condensed or improved. The opportunity to advance has arrived." Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Cool eye 4G only, DK, every he is a thief." Sikong Chuyu also expressed the same meaning. They had indeed been consolidating their cultivation base for a while. Besides that, they had been stimulated by Yun Huang, Linglong, and Liang Yu. The three of them were charging towards the third-level Saint Realm. If Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu did not break through, the gap between them would only grow larger. Break through when you feel that the opportunity has arrived. There's no need to deliberately suppress it, Night Sorrow nodded. In the next few days, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu went into seclusion one after another. It took them 4 days to break through to the Saint Realm. Night Sorrow was very happy with such a situation. He brought Xueshi and Aoi out of the Time and Space Pagoda to celebrate with everyone. Aoi was not in a hurry now. She was not far away from the 7th-level Void Inquiry stage and was currently cultivating her ultimate body. She was already very satisfied with the results of her recent cultivation. While the few of them were drinking, Xialanjun and Lin Yuandao arrived. Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei were both members of the Tianji Tower. Since the two of them had broken through to the Saint Realm, they also wanted to congratulate them. When Xialanjun saw Xueshi, she was stunned for a moment. Night Sorrow introduced Xueshi to her, telling her that she was a friend of his when he was adventuring in the past. Xialanjun felt a little strange. She even felt that Xueshi and Yin were related. However, their hair color, qi and temperament were somewhat different. Thus, she did not think too much about it. In her impression, Night Sorrow and Yin were like fire and water. When they met, they would meet with swords and spears. They could not be friends. Logically speaking, Xialanjuan's analysis was correct. However, due to a strange combination of factors, it led to today's situation. After celebrating with Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei, Night Sorrow cultivated the Haotian scripture while waiting for news from Yi Wuyo and the other two. He wanted to transfer the true qi that he originally cultivated according to the sacred cauldron scripture to the cultivation path of the Haotian scripture. This was a very complicated process. There was a huge difference between each cultivation method. It was very troublesome to change it. The true qi circulation method and the meridians were all different. After half a month, Knight Sorrow completed the cultivation of the Haotian scripture. After Knight Sorrow solved the problem of his true qi cultivation, he began to cultivate in actual combat. Yu Qing had improved a lot after becoming Long Xuanxing's disciple. Now she had mastered the wind attribute. In the earth-space imprisonment technique that she cultivated, she added the wind element. In other words, the attack of the wind blade was strengthened. As the days passed, there was no movement from the profound mysteries realm. They did not launch another attack and there was no news. When Knight Sorrow planned to enter the space-time pagoda to cultivate, Yi Wuyo, Yin Tianlong and Shui Wuling returned. The three of them found the location of the spatial passage. However, because the profound mysteries realm was heavily guarded, the three of them did not approach it. Very good. Since we know the location, we have to make a plan. It's time to counterattack. Knight Sorrow was very happy to know the location of the spatial passage. Son, there are many people guarding it. It won't be easy to enter the profound mysteries realm, Yi Wuyo said. Father, go and gather the troops. In a few days I will take 1/3 of the invincible venerables with me. As for the peak venerables, forget about it. Knight Sorrow said. Yi Wuyo and Tai Shu were the deputy commanders of the 9 Regions World War. They could mobilize the troops. Knight Sorrow did not dare to take too many people. First of all, it was risky to go to the profound mysteries realm. The other 3 regions had to be stabilized. If everyone left, there would be problems. Okay, I will prepare the troops later. Yi Wuyo nodded. Knight Sorrow found Tai Shu and asked him and Lu Qin to prepare the resources. They had to go to war without resources. Afterward, Knight Sorrow found Hua Haining and asked for poison and antidote pills. He wanted to go to the profound mysteries realm. He wanted to play big. While Knight Sorrow was preparing, an old man arrived at the Eastern Cloud City Lord Manor. He was a high-level saint of the profound mysteries realm. He was guarding the spatial passage and found traces of Yi Wuyo and the others. Hearing the old man's words, Jun Xuanji laughed. Knight Sorrow, you're not the only one who knows how to play tricks. Last time you set up an ambush and suffered heavy losses. This time you won't be able to return. They want to open up the situation and start a war with the profound mysteries realm, Shang Luo said. Chapter 841. At that moment, clouds suddenly appeared in the sky. Red streaks appeared in the clouds, directly enveloping the high-grade saint who had come to report information about Yi Wuyo and the others. What's this? The high-grade saint cried out. He was being attacked now, both his body and soul being attacked. Quickly return to the profound mysteries realm and see if you can withstand it. This is an attack from the world source, Xian Wenxiu called out. Hearing Xian Wenxiu's call, the high-grade saint's body flashed, and he rushed out of the city lord's manor. Everything was futile. The high-grade saint had just rushed out of the city lord's manor when he could no longer move. This was because the red streaks were attacking him from all directions. In just a short moment, this high-grade saint was killed by the power of the red streaks. Xian Wenxiu sighed and Shang Luo also shook his head helplessly. They had interfered with the war and broken the saint's contract, so the 9 Regions World Source had created a destructive power that directly killed them. The 9 Regions World's laws are incomplete, and their ability to resist other worlds is weak. However, their offensive power is still top-notch. In the future, saints should not participate in wars anymore, Xian Wenxiu said. Seeing a high-grade saint being killed by the 9 Regions World's laws with his own eyes, Xian Wenxiu was somewhat moved. He definitely could not ignore or break the saint's contract. The Open Cloud Saint sacrificed himself for the war between worlds. This is something that no one wants to see, so we have to make the Open Cloud Saint's death worthwhile. Invite Grandmaster Gu over, Jun Xuanji ordered. Grandmaster Gu was the most powerful formation Grandmaster in the Profound Mysteries realm. Now Jun Xuanji was going to use the same method as Knight Sorrow, an ambush. They had to ambush him. A short moment later, an elder in linen robes came to the city lord's manor. He was the Profound Mysteries realm's formation Grandmaster, Gu Tianyu. Grandmaster Gu, the 9 Regions world has found the location of the spatial tunnel between the 9 Regions world and the Profound Mysteries realm. They plan to pull the battle line to the Profound Mysteries realm, so I want to ask Grandmaster to set up a formation at the spatial tunnel and kill all of their elites, Jun Xuanji said to Gu Tianyu. Hearing Jun Xuanji's words, Gu Tianyu's dull eyes lit up. Saintess, don't worry. I'll set up a destruction formation and seal the spatial tunnel entrance. Grandmaster Gu, their people know how to cut space. So, when you set up the array formation, put more effort into sealing space, Jun Xuanji said to Gu Tianyu. Then add a spatial imprisonment formation, Gu Tianyu said. Night Sorrow was cultivating at the edge of the realm's sea. Yi Wuyo had already arranged for the invincible paragons to fight, Yun Tianlong, Shui Wuling, Bei Tiange, and Night God Quang. Night Sorrow, I've called over 4 unrivaled sovereigns for the people you want to fight. Including me, they're about half as strong as the unrivaled sovereigns, said Yi Wuyo. Father, you can't go. After I leave, we still need someone to guard this place. At the very least, they can block Jun Xuanji. Also, we don't need so many people. Just 2 seniors will be enough. We'll go kill and burn. Saints can't participate, so who can stop us? Most of their forces are in the 9 regions world, said Night Sorrow. That's fine. Then Prince Wu, you can stay behind. This king and brother Shui can come with you, said Yun Tianlong. Then it's decided. Seniors, come with me. I'll bring the god-slaying squad to have some fun in the profound mysteries realm. However, it won't be easy to pass through the spatial tunnel. They'll definitely have an ambush. When the time comes, Overlord Yun and Senior Shui will have to suffer and enter my spatial treasure. Night Sorrow looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. He was giving them a warning. If they weren't willing to enter the space-time pagoda, it would be troublesome. If you have something to say, just say it directly. This king will listen to orders. There's no need to beat around the bush, said Yun Tianlong. Haha, I'll also listen to orders. As long as it's an order from you, the commander of the 9 regions world, I'll definitely carry it out, laughed Shui Wuling. Then it's decided. Now the biggest problem is passing through the spatial tunnel. If I'm not wrong, there's a huge hole waiting for us there, said Night Sorrow after pouring tea for everyone. Are you sure? Asked the Grand Elder. Because of the Saint contract, their saints can't fight, but they can still stand guard. If I'm not wrong, when my father, King Yun, and Senior Shui went to investigate, their saints had already discovered us. With such an opportunity, they definitely wouldn't set up a trap for us, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Choosing you as the commander of the 9 regions world should be a blessing for us. But even if there's an ambush, there's still a chance, said the Grand Elder. It's not a chance, it's 100%. Because I'm Jun Xuanji, I'll definitely do it, said Night Sorrow. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. At this moment, everyone nodded because Yi Shang's judgment was reasonable. Then how are you going to get there? Long Xianxing and the others had also arrived at Night Sorrow's tent. I know a little about arrays. If I discover that they've set up a large array, I'll use spatial rend and directly travel through the chaotic flow of space. That way, I won't give them a chance to use their array. It's impossible for them to set up an array in the chaotic flow of space, said Night Sorrow with a smile. That's a good idea. Long Xianxing nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow had already made plans. When are we leaving? Asked Xiaolanjun. The sooner the better. Ren Tianji is heavily injured and Jun Xuanji won't attack for a while. If we're late, they might attack at any time. At that time, I won't be here and it won't be easy to defend, said Night Sorrow. After chatting with the seniors for a while, Night Sorrow arrived at the God-slaying squad's camp and clapped his hands. As Night Sorrow clapped, the members of the God-slaying squad gathered. Every time Night Sorrow clapped his hands, it was the order to gather. Everyone has been cultivating bitterly for a while. There's no point in just sharpening our blades without fighting. There'll be a big battle soon. Everyone come with me. Nan Liue, go get some supplies from City Lord Taishu and distribute them to everyone. Tomorrow we'll gather and fight, ordered Night Sorrow. Marshal Uncle 13, is it murder, arson, or robbery? Ma Shizhuang pulled Tang Tian and Chu Ning to Night Sorrow's side. We can't even beat the 3 of you. Work harder. Look, our god-slaying team has venerables and peak tier 5 venerables everywhere. You guys are still at tier 4, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the 3 of them. Ma Shizhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning nodded. They knew that they couldn't keep up with the pace with their 4th rank cultivation, but there was nothing they could do. Chapter 842. Okay, don't feel pressured. Just don't slack off, Night Sorrow said to the 3 of them. After giving his instructions, Yi Shang returned to his tent and chatted with his father and mother over tea. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow came out of his tent and went to the camp of the god-slaying squad. Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei and Aoi were also there. Everyone don't resist. Enter the pagoda. I'll let you out when you need to fight, Night Sorrow waved his right hand and the pagoda returned to its 3-story height. Then the door opened. Then the members of the God-slaying squad all entered the pagoda. After seeing the members of the God-slaying team enter the pagoda of time and space, Yishan looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling who were behind him. Okay, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling nodded. Night Sorrow kept Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling who didn't resist into the pagoda. After keeping the pagoda, Night Sorrow nodded to Long Xianxing and the other saints. Then he looked at Yi Wuyo and Granduncle. Father and Granduncle City Lord will handle the rest. Stabilize this place first. I'll open up the situation in the Profound Mysteries realm. Then the direction of the war will change, Night Sorrow said. Be careful. Safety comes first, Yi Wuyo reminded Night Sorrow. Yu Qing's eyes were filled with worry. I'll be careful, Night Sorrow said. Then he nodded to Wu Lingfei who rushed over. Also, they've set up a defense line at the border of the Realm Sea of the Western Nether Territory. It's slightly weaker in the west, Yi Wuyo said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. Then he cupped his fists to the others. Then he took out a spaceship and drove it away from the border. Riding a spaceship alone, how extravagant, Sky Underworld Saint muttered. What's wrong with being a little extravagant now? He needs to cultivate and maintain his peak condition. Long Xianxing said. In the 9 domains world, only Long Xianxing would not give any face to Heavenly Underworld Saint. What you said makes sense, but don't be so sharp, okay? Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Long Xianxing with disdain and returned to his tent. Night Sorrow was in the airship, meditating and cultivating his foundation while strengthening his comprehension of the power of laws and increasing his soul force. The Realm Sea was 800,000 miles wide. Even the fastest flying ship, Night Sorrow, took nearly a day to arrive. Not far from the edge of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow kept his flying ship, propped up his protective barrier, and approached the edge of the Realm Sea. He knew that the troops of the Profound Mysteries realm had built a defensive line, but their energy was focused on attacking, so the defensive line was not very strong. Besides, Night Sorrow believed that with his speed, he would have no problem breaking through the defensive line. Most importantly, Night Sorrow was not afraid of fighting. As long as there was an obstruction, he would dare to kill. After reaching the shore of the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow released his soul force and found where the troops of the Profound Mysteries realm were stationed. He went around them and entered the depths of the Western Nether region. After traveling for a while, Night Sorrow let Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong out of the space-time pagoda because they knew where the spatial passageway was. The 3 of them flew. While flying, Yun Tianlong also explained the current situation of the Western Nether region. Currently, the Profound Mysteries realm only managed a few large cities in the Western Nether region. They did not care about the smaller cities, and they did not even have any troops stationed there. The main reason was that they were helpless against Yi Wuyo and the others. Each time Yi Wuyo's group of 3 crossed the Realm Sea, they would fly through the gaps between the spatial laws of the Realm Sea and the spatial laws of the air. Adding on the fact that the Profound Mysteries realm's defensive line had yet to be completed, no one noticed them entering the Western Nether region. It won't be so easy next time. When I came here, I sensed that there were quite a few troops from the Profound Mysteries realm at the edge of the Realm Sea. Once we get entangled, their experts will arrive, said Night Sorrow. Under Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling's lead, the 3 of them traveled at full speed for 6 days before arriving at the Nether Mountain Range. That's not right. Last time we came here, the patrols were mostly venerables. There were even invincible venerables leading the patrols. This time they're all at the 5th rank, said Yun Tianlong. Haha, this is a trap. They're afraid that we won't be able to enter if they send high-level patrols, and they'll scare us away. But they're also afraid that we'll be alerted, so they sent 5th-rank patrols, said Night Sorrow with a smile. The new GS is the fastest G's coolest. That makes sense. Then how should we deal with them? I think this will be a terrifying trap, said Yun Tianlong. Let's get a bit closer. Their patrols won't be able to discover us. When the time comes, I'll enter chaotic space and charge straight through. We won't get entangled with them, said Night Sorrow. Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling then entered the space-time pagoda. That was because Night Sorrow would have to deal with the ambush. They wouldn't be able to help him. With the reincarnation spear in hand, Yishang quietly approached the entrance of the spatial passageway. Relying on his soul power to investigate, it was easy for Yishang to avoid the patrol team formed by rank 5 cultivators. When he was still 30 li away from the spatial passageway, Yishang stopped. Night Sorrow saw traces of a formation. The space and energy in front of them weren't flowing naturally. In other words, it was a sign that someone was interfering with them. Smiling, Night Sorrow used spatial rend and stealthily entered the spatial channel, entering chaotic space. With the power of laws protecting him, the spatial storms in the spatial channel couldn't approach or threaten Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow traveled through the chaotic space at a speed similar to the Nine Regions world. As he moved forward, Night Sorrow narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the spatial barrier had changed. It became thicker and tougher. This made him understand that the space had been strengthened. This meant that regardless of whether it was in chaotic space or the Nine Regions world, it would be difficult to break through space. This was a method targeted at him and Wuxia. Night Sorrow traveled through the spatial turbulence and quickly neared the entrance of the spatial tunnel. This area was rather complicated. It was the border between the Nine Zones world, the spatial tunnel, and the spatial turbulence. However, Night Sorrow had already passed the area where the other party had set up an ambush. Night Sorrow used spatial rend and cut open the spatial barrier. Then he cut the space in the spatial channel again. It was equivalent to using spatial rend twice in a row. After using spatial rend, Night Sorrow's body flashed out of the chaotic space of the Nine Regions world. Then he entered the spatial channel and the spatial channel. Finally, he smoothed out the spatial fluctuations. All of this happened in an instant. Night Sorrow's actions were fast, but the energy fluctuations still attracted some people's attention. 5 to 6 invincible venerables appeared near the spatial channel at the same time. After checking around, they didn't find anything. They were very puzzled. Don't worry. With the spatial channel as the base, I'll set up a circular formation. The surrounding 15 kilometers will be enveloped by the formation. As long as someone comes, we'll know, Jianghu said confidently. After using his spiritual strength to check the outside, Night Sorrow traveled forward in the chaotic space and headed toward the profound mysteries realm. Chapter 843. A moment later, Night Sorrow charged through the spatial passageway. However, a spatial barrier appeared in front of him. It was the spatial barrier of the profound mysteries realm. Night Sorrow once again used the spatial rift and entered the spatial turbulence of the profound mysteries realm. After probing, Night Sorrow discovered that the profound mysteries realm was indeed ruthless. They had set up array formations on both sides of the spatial passageway and had invincible supremacies guarding them. Although the power of his bloodline was somewhat depleted, Night Sorrow had the Nihility Law and the Nihility Protective Barrier to protect him. Thus, he had no problem traveling through the spatial turbulence. After traveling for 200 miles in the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow used the spatial rift and exited the spatial turbulence. After exiting the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow's body flashed and he entered the 60th floor of the Spacetime Pagoda to recover. Now that he was in the profound mysteries realm, which was his opponent's territory, Night Sorrow knew that it was important to maintain his peak combat strength at all times. During this period he had not consumed much, but more than half of his bloodline power had been consumed. An hour later, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak state. After drinking a mouthful of wine, Night Sorrow exited the Spacetime Pagoda and brought Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling out. Night Sorrow wanted to listen to Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling's suggestions. After all, their experience was not something he could compare to. We need information. We need to know more about the profound mysteries realm. Also, we need a map. That way we can do whatever we want, Yun Tianlong said after pondering for a moment. Then let's find a city to settle down in first. Fortunately, we are the same as the humans in the profound mysteries realm. We don't have to worry about being exposed. Night Sorrow nodded. After 2 days, Night Sorrow and the other two arrived at the nearest city to the spatial passageway in the profound mysteries realm, Three Sun City. After entering the city, Night Sorrow and the other two easily bought a world map of the profound mysteries realm. They also bought some miscellaneous books and anecdotes. Then the three of them entered a tea house. As they drank tea, they studied the map. After studying the map, Night Sorrow's group of 3 began to read the miscellaneous books. As they read, Night Sorrow's group gained a better understanding of the profound mysteries realm. In the profound mysteries realm, the strongest and most influential sect was the Profound Mysteries Pavilion. The Profound Pavilion had an extraordinary status in the profound mysteries realm. It never interfered with the struggles of the clans and sections. However, it commanded all the forces. If any force disobeyed the Profound Pavilion's orders, it would be obliterated and cease to exist in the profound mysteries realm. The person in charge of the Profound Pavilion was either the Holy Son or the Holy Daughter. I didn't expect it to be like this. I think that woman called Jun Xuanji must be the Holy Maiden of the Profound Pavilion. That's why she was able to command the heroes of the Profound Mysteries realm, said Shui Wuling. That should be the case. The Profound Pavilion is very powerful and can command all the forces. That's why they can unite all the cultivators in the Profound Mysteries realm, Knight Sorrow said as he sipped his tea. The Profound Mysteries Royal City is the #1 city. The Profound Pavilion's headquarters is in the Profound Mysteries Mountain. That's their lair. However, they must have many experts. We might not be able to take them down, said Yun Tianlong. Don't worry. Saints can't participate in the battle. Most of the invincible honorables have been transferred to the 9 domains world. We have nothing to worry about. Let's attack the Profound Mysteries Mountain and destroy the Profound Pavilion's lair, said Knight Sorrow. We'll listen to you. We haven't even started killing yet, but I can already feel my blood boiling, said Shui Wuling with a smile. If we can fight, we'll fight. If we exhaust ourselves, we'll run. It's not that difficult. Besides, they'll only feel pain when their important places are destroyed. Only then will it be effective, said Knight Sorrow. Then Knight Sorrow, Yun Tianlong, and Shui Wuling arrived at the teleportation array in the Three Sun City and began the teleportation. Free reading for a long time, 9 novels. After a few teleportations, the 3 of them arrived at the central region of the Profound Mysteries realm, the Profound Mysteries Royal City. After finding an inn to stay in, Knight Sorrow entered the Pagoda of Time and Space. He transferred Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong inside as well. He needed to make some tactical arrangements. We'll fight however you want, said Yun Tianlong. He believed in Knight Sorrow's plans and tactics. They had been tested in battle. Everyone has kerosene and poison, right? When the battle starts, everyone starts burning and killing. Remember, don't touch those without cultivation, especially the children. War has nothing to do with children, said Knight Sorrow to the god-slaying team. After the group nodded, Knight Sorrow looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. Their invincible honorables and peak honorables are probably in the western nether region of the 9 domains world. Therefore, no matter which force it is, there won't be more than 3 experts. When the battle starts, the 3 of us will restrain and kill the enemy's experts. We can't let the experts pose a threat to the god-slaying team. All right. Their saints won't dare to make a move. The 3 of us will hold off their top experts. There won't be any problems. Shui Wuling nodded. The god-slaying team is in charge of destruction and killing their cultivators. The other thing is resources. Since they dare to snatch the resources of our 9-domain world, we'll move the resources of the Profound Mysteries realm back to our 9-domain world, Yi Shan said to the members of the god-slaying team. Yes, sir. The god-slaying team members replied to Knight Sorrow by tapping on their breastplates. Tonight, we'll destroy the Profound Pavilion's lair, Profound Mountain. We'll burn down their mountain and rob them of their resources, said Knight Sorrow. After resting for the night, Knight Sorrow put on the Night Moon King battle armor and transferred Jianghu out of the Pagoda of Time and Space. He rode on Jianghu and rushed toward Profound Mountain. The distance between Profound Imperial City and Profound Mountain wasn't very far. It was only a few thousand miles. When they arrived at Profound Mountain's entrance, Knight Sorrow blasted the signboard with the words, Profound Pavilion, into pieces with a single spear strike. Then, Knight Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and killed the Profound Pavilion disciples guarding the mountain gate with a few spear rays. Jianghu flew at a low altitude. His sharp claws and wings slashed out sharp blades, killing the Profound Pavilion disciples who tried to stop them and warn them. Profound Mountain was very big. It took Jianghu 15 minutes to reach the Profound Pavilion's main hall as he flew at top speed. Following the warning of the enemy's attack, the plaza of the Profound Pavilion's main hall was filled with disciples of the Profound Pavilion. However, the leader was only a peak venerable, and there was also an old man with snow-white hair and a beard that Yi Shan couldn't see through. Knight Sorrow knew that the old man was a saint, but he didn't care. Who are you? How dare you cause trouble in the Profound Pavilion's holy land? The old man shouted at Knight Sorrow, who was standing on Jianghu's back. Knight Sorrow of the 9 regions world. This is a war between the 9 regions world and the Profound Mysteries realm. Do you dare to interfere? Knight Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and roared. The old man glanced at Knight Sorrow, then at the Profound Pavilion's troops. He didn't say anything. Profound Pavilion is now a war zone. If you dare to interfere, you know the result. Also, you can't take away any of the resources here. Otherwise, you'll be interfering in the war, Knight Sorrow snorted coldly. The old man glared fiercely at Knight Sorrow, then retreated. 2 days ago, a high-level saint had interfered in the war and was killed by the world's laws. He didn't want to become the second, so he could only leave the war zone. As the Profound Pavilion's disciples charged forward, Night Sorrow waved his left hand and released the people he'd brought with him. According to the plan, kill all the core members of the Profound Pavilion. Didn't they want to start a war? Then kill them. With a roar, Night Sorrow soared into the air and charged at the peak Venerable. Right now, there were only 3 people who could threaten the safety of the God-slaying team. If Night Sorrow could deal with one, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling would easily deal with the rest. Chapter 844. Night Sorrow's target was a peak Venerable. This peak Venerable was the Vice Pavilion Lord of the Mysterious Pavilion, Yuhang. The Profound Pavilion didn't have a Pavilion Master, only a Holy Maiden and a Holy Son. Currently, aside from the Holy Maiden Jun Xuanji and the Saint-level Grand Elders, Yuhang's status and position were the highest in the Profound Pavilion. Hence, he stayed here to guard the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear stabbed over. Yuhang waved his blade and slashed at Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. In Yuhang's eyes, Night Sorrow and he were both level 9 venerables. Night Sorrow had just become a level 9 venerable, while he was at the peak of level 9. He wouldn't be at a disadvantage if he faced Night Sorrow head-on. Bang! Following a loud explosion, Yuhang was sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear. His feet left 2 deep grooves in the ground. Night Sorrow stomped with his right foot, causing the hard ground of the plaza to crack. Some of the disciples of the mysterious pavilion who were rushing toward Night Sorrow were sent flying. At this moment, Night Sorrow soared into the sky and caught up with Yuhang in a flash. Once again he stabbed his reincarnation spear at Yuhang. Night Sorrow had unleashed the power of the law of nothingness in this spear strike, as well as the nothingness true energy extreme kill. Yuhang's expression changed drastically. He couldn't dodge in time and could only swing his blade again. Without a sound or breath, Yi Shang's reincarnation spear clashed with Yuhang's battle saber without any sound. Yuhang's battle saber was broken by Yi Shang's reincarnation spear, and the spear light of the reincarnation spear pierced into Yuhang's chest. Yuhang spat out blood and retreated. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow was too strong. He couldn't fight against him at all. Night Sorrow wouldn't give Yuhang a chance to escape. He used his protective energy shield to cut forward, and the reincarnation spear pierced Yuhang's chest. Then his vital energy exploded, breaking all of Yuhang's meridians and dantian. Yuhang grabbed the shaft of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His eyes were filled with confusion and bewilderment. He was a peak 9th level venerable, but he was killed by Night Sorrow, an early 9th level venerable, in 3 moves. After taking Yuhang's storage ring, Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and started to hunt down the other opponents from the mysterious pavilion who were mid-level venerable ones and above. The area covered by the battle grew larger and larger, mainly because some of the disciples of the Profound Pavilion had fled, and the members of the God-slaying team chased after them. An hour later the battle ended. Nan Liyue and Yun Huang led their men to harvest the spoils of war. Liang Yu, Ling Long, Ho Jian, and the others held torches and were about to start a fire. Don't go too far. The white-haired saint reappeared in the plaza of the Profound Pavilion, glaring at Night Sorrow with murderous intent. You're the one who wanted to attack the 9 regions world. Now you're telling me not to go too far. Brothers, burn this place down. We still need to sweep the various branches of the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow didn't care about the saint's words. The white-haired old man was so angry that his body trembled, but he didn't dare to attack. If he did, he would be interfering in the war. Even though he was from the Profound Mysteries realm, the origin of the Profound Mysteries realm wouldn't let him off if he went against the Heavenly Tao Oath. The Profound Pavilion's main hall, which had been passed down for countless years, had been plundered clean by the God-slaying team and turned into a ball of raging flames. Get on your mounts and sweep all the halls of the Profound Pavilion. Night Sorrow roared and leaped onto the back of Tianyu, who had come to pick him up, and flew toward the other peaks of the Profound Pavilion. Aside from the main peak, there were 11 other peaks in the Medicine Valley. The Profound Pavilion was the same, and there were many other pavilions and halls. After a long time, the Profound Pavilion was destroyed without the unrivaled venerables around, and the saints didn't dare to attack. All that was left were broken beams and tiles that were still burning. Night Sorrow and the others left after robbing a large amount of resources. Night Sorrow was very cautious. After leaving for a distance, he put everyone into the space-time pagoda and then entered the turbulent space. After traveling for hundreds of miles and making sure that no one could follow them, he left the spatial crack and entered the space-time pagoda. Everyone pay attention to your recovery. We need to destroy the Profound Mysteries Realm's Profound Mysteries Imperial City before they can react. We need to deal the greatest damage to them, Yishan said as he looked at the excited members of the God-slaying squad. Captain, this is a war between worlds. It's not appropriate for me to keep the resources. These 3 storage rings contain the spoils of the war. The Profound Pavilion is really rich. Nan Liue took out 3 storage rings and handed them to Night Sorrow. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the war resources belonged to the 9 Domains world, so it wasn't appropriate for the God-slaying team to keep them. He looked at Yin Tianlong. Don't look at me. I came out to fight with you. I don't care about anything else. Yun Tianlong shook his head. Don't look at me either. I came out with you to kill, haha. Shui Wuling laughed. Then we'll talk about it when we get back. Right now, let's focus on recovering. We have to race against time. We have to attack their core city, the Profound Mysteries Imperial City, as soon as possible. Then we'll attack the other sects and sects, said Night Sorrow. Everyone nodded. Yishang was discussing and asking for everyone's opinion, but at this moment, everyone treated Yishang's words as an order. Once the news spreads, the Profound Mysteries Realm troops stationed in the Western Nether region will return to reinforce us. The pressure on the 3 origin regions' defense line will be relieved, said Shui Wuling. Shui Wuling said. He knew that destroying Shenji Pavilion would be the turning point of this War of the Worlds. Right now, the Profound Mysteries Realm was in a passive position. The 9 Domains world could resist the invasion of the Profound Mysteries Realm in the 3 origin region, but the Profound Mysteries Realm couldn't. They would have to face the attacks of the 9 Domains world's troops. Most importantly, no one below the Saint Realm in the Profound Mysteries Realm could fight against Night Sorrow. This was also the 9 Domains world's advantage in having experts below the Saint Realm. This advantage wasn't something the Profound Mysteries Realm could equalize. After resting for 2 hours, everyone was back in peak condition. Night Sorrow told them their next tactic. They would first control the Profound Mysteries Imperial City's transportation formation. They couldn't let the Profound Mysteries Realm's cultivators come to reinforce them. Night Sorrow, it's going to be difficult this time. We've already seen the Profound Mysteries Imperial City. It's bigger than any of the 9 Domains royal cities, and there are a lot of cultivators there. If it turns into a war of attrition, it won't be fun. Shui Wuling looked at Night Sorrow. Cool K for a long time free of charge P reading /G novel. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the safety of himself, Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling was not a problem. However, the God-slaying squad was not. Once they were exhausted, they would be killed. Night Sorrow did not want to see that happen. After making his decision, Night Sorrow exited the Spacetime Pagoda and flew towards Profound Secrets Royal City. When he arrived at Profound Secrets Imperial City, Night Sorrow saw a scene of panic. The news of Profound Secrets Pavilion's destruction had already spread. This had a huge impact on the Profound Secrets realm. Profound Secrets Pavilion could be said to be the faith of all cultivators in the Profound Secrets realm. How serious was the destruction of their faith? Night Sorrow rushed to the vicinity of the teleportation formation. With a wave of his reincarnation spear, he killed the 2 mid-level supremacies guarding the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow controlled the power of rule and could easily kill a mid-level venerable. Following which, Night Sorrow removed the teleportation crystal from the teleportation array and teleported everyone out of the Spacetime Pagoda. Chapter 845. Night Sorrow, Yun Tianlong, and Shui Wuling led the God-slaying team towards Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's residence. They wanted to destroy the City Lord's residence first. That had symbolic meaning. While Yi Shang and the others were flying towards the Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's mansion, a man was reporting about the destruction of the Profound Secrets Pavilion in the 9 Regions World's Western Nether Region's East Cloud City. How did this happen? When did they get there? Isn't there an annihilation formation at the spatial tunnel entrance? Aren't there guards on both sides? Shen Wenxiu grabbed the man's collar and roared. Grand Elder, I'm not sure. Vice Pavilion Master Yu was killed, and the Profound Secrets Palace and 7 branch palaces were all burned down, the man continued to explain. We have to go back as quickly as we can. Saints can't interfere in the war. Our invincible venerables and peak venerables are all here. The Profound Secrets realm doesn't have many experts, so we can't stop their attacks, Shang Luo said somewhat anxiously. We saints can't interfere in the war. The Open Cloud Saint's death is the result of interfering in the war. Hurry up, Xian Wenxiu said through gritted teeth. He was the Grand Elder of the Profound Secrets Pavilion, so he had to bear a large part of the responsibility. Jun Xuanji's expression was ashen. How did this happen? We clearly set up a killing trap at the spatial tunnel entrance that could have heavily injured them. Why didn't it work? Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, let's not talk about that for now. Right now we need to resolve the crisis, said Xian Wenxiu. Jun Xuanji nodded helplessly. She knew she couldn't attack because both Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo cared about the Profound Secrets Realm's foundation. They wouldn't allow her to ignore the Profound Secrets Realm and fight against the Nine Regions world. The high-level cultivators would go back to save the situation, while the low-level cultivators would be killed if they stayed. So they had to retreat. Jun Xuanji gave the order to retreat. Arriving at the spatial tunnel entrance, Jun Xuanji arranged for Ren Tianji, who had recovered his strength, to stand guard. Then he led the others to teleport towards Profound Secrets Imperial City. They were just one more teleportation away from the Profound Secrets Imperial City. Jun Xuanji and the others couldn't teleport because all the teleportation crystals in Profound Secrets Imperial City's teleportation formation had been taken away by Night Sorrow. It would take a long time to fly hundreds of thousands of miles. Damn it. Even Profound Secrets Imperial City is under attack. Being unable to teleport proved that there was a problem with the transmission array. How could Xian Wenxiu not analyze that there was a problem with Profound Secrets Imperial City? Night Sorrow's group killed along the way, all the way until they reached the Profound Secret City Lord Manor. At that moment, quite a number of people came out from the City Lord's mansion. Leading them was an old man in brocade robes. The old man's battle intent was very strong. Originally, I didn't want to participate in the war between the Nine Domains world and the Xuanji realm. But since you came, I had to fight. This Xuanji Imperial City belongs to the Jun family. If you touch Xuanji Imperial City, you will fight to the death with my Jun family. The old man took out a 4-foot-long sword and said to Night Sorrow and the others. The most influential force in the Profound Mysteries realm was the Profound Pavilion, the largest sect was the Profound Heaven Sword sect, and the most famous and powerful family was the Jun family. Jun Xuanji came from the Jun family of the Profound Secrets Imperial City's City Lord's estate. This old man was the head of the Jun family and the City Lord of Profound Secrets Imperial City, Jun Qianya. This is a war between two worlds. If your Profound Mysteries realm attacks, then it's normal for us to attack back. No one is innocent. There is only victory and defeat. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear. Then come. Jun Qianya waved his sword and slashed at Night Sorrow. Seeing Jun Qianya attack, Night Sorrow activated his law energy to protect himself. Following that, the reincarnation spear also violently attacked. Night Sorrow normally didn't use his law energy to protect himself. However, Jun Qianya was very strong and could pose a threat to him. Peak Venerables and Unrivaled Venerables were indistinguishable when they weren't fighting. They were both peak 9th rank Venerables. The only difference was their combat strength, and that was only when they fought. Jun Qianya waved his sword. The sword chi he released had 3 kinds of law energy coiled around it. Night Sorrow was also suppressed by the law energy, which was why he used his law energy to counterattack. He knew that Jun Qianya wasn't a peak venerable but a half-saint. After activating his law energy to protect himself, Night Sorrow was no longer suppressed by Jun Qianya. The Void True Chi on the reincarnation spear collided with Jun Qianya's 3-attribute energy. In terms of attribute energy research, Jun Qianya was stronger. However, no matter how deep his attribute energy research was, it was useless against the Void True Chi. It was completely neutralized. Following an explosion, Yishang retreated 2 steps, but Jun Qianya retreated even further. This was the result of Yishang's strong body and tyrannical strength. The Jun family was very strong. Other than Jun Qianya, there was another peak venerable. However, Yin Tianlong blocked him. Shui Wuling's speed was astonishing. She directly blocked the 2 high-rank venerables. She had no choice but to block them. High-rank venerables were harmful to the god-slaying squad. The battle was very intense. With someone blocking the peak venerables and high-rank venerables, the god-slaying squad was invincible. They started to kill crazily. Night Sorrow suppressed Jun Qianya. However, it was impossible for him to end the battle quickly. Yun Qianlong's attack was ferocious, but the opponent was also very strong. This situation made Night Sorrow a little anxious. The battle here was very loud. There were many cultivators in Xuanji Imperial City. If the battle couldn't end quickly, it would be troublesome. While Night Sorrow was anxious, Xue Wuling made an achievement. She killed a high-rank venerable and then suppressed the last high-rank venerable. Victory was only a matter of time. Night Sorrow was relieved. As long as there was one more invincible venerable, the situation would be under control. After calming down, Night Sorrow started to fight with Jun Qianya. In order to end the battle quickly, Night Sorrow used the law of nothingness to suppress Jun Qianya. The reincarnation spear violently bombarded him. At the same time he was ready to use the soul-extinguishing slash. During this period of time, Night Sorrow's cultivation had been rapidly increasing. Although he didn't deliberately cultivate, the soul-extinguishing slash's crescent blade in Night Sorrow's spirit sea became more and more condensed. Now, Night Sorrow was looking for an opportunity to kill Jun Qianya. Yin Tianlong was very annoyed. His opponent's cultivation was clearly inferior to his, but he was like a loach. He just didn't want to fight with him. Just as Yun Tianlong was about to use a large-scale attack, a sword light flashed. Yun Tianlong's opponent's protective energy shield was torn apart. His body was cut open by the sword qi. Xue Wuling had casually attacked this peak venerable when she was chasing after her opponent. "You go. Leave this one to me." Xue Wuling shouted and took over Yun Tianlong. Yun Tianlong nodded and went to chase after Xue Wuling's opponent. Yun Tianlong and Xue Wuling were two extremes. Yun Qianlong's attack was powerful, but speed was not his forte. Xue Wuling's speed was invincible, but the strength of her attack was average. Now that the opponent was changed, the situation would change. Chapter 846. Jun Qianya was very strong. If Night Sorrow wasn't here, he wouldn't have a problem fighting Yun Tianlong or Xue Wuling because he had comprehended 3 types of laws. However, Night Sorrow's law of nothingness was too overbearing, completely suppressing his advantage. He couldn't contend against Night Sorrow's power and the tyranny of nothingness true energy, so he was suppressed to the point of being forced to retreat. After blasting Jun Qianya back again, Night Sorrow used the soul-extinguishing slash because Jun Qianya's true energy was unstable at this time and his defense was weak. As Night Sorrow released the soul-extinguishing slash, a deep purple crescent blade streaked across the air, passing through Jun Qianya's protective qi shield and cutting towards his spirit sea. Jun Qianya's expression changed. His soul power surged out to block Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash. At this time, Night Sorrow, who had used the Void Extreme Slash, rushed in front of Jun Qianya and pierced his reincarnation spear towards Jun Qianya's chest. Jun Qianya, who was defending his spirit sea with all his strength, could only wave his sword to block Night Sorrow's spear. As the two weapons collided, a purple halo erupted from the tip of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. The halo directly annihilated the part where Jun Qianya's sword and Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear clashed. After breaking Jun Qianya's weapon, Night Sorrow's right hand shook. The spear light burst out and directly broke Jun Qianya's protective qi shield, rushing into Jun Qianya's body and blasting him away. When the body was attacked, the soul power was naturally affected. Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash broke through Jun Qianya's spirit sea defense and directly slashed into his spirit sea. When his spirit sea was attacked, Jun Qianya was like a wooden man standing there foolishly. Night Sorrow's spear pierced into his dantian and then shattered it. Night Sorrow then pierced Jun Qianya's spirit sea with another spear, completely killing him. After taking Jun Qianya's storage ring and broken sword, Night Sorrow joined the other battle groups. At the same time he gave the order to burn down the city lord's mansion and rob it. With the support of Night Sorrow, Yun Tianlong and Xue Wuling, who were all below the saint stage, the god-slaying team had no pressure in the battle. They carried out Night Sorrow's orders directly. Night Sorrow, it's not a big problem. There are many people here but there aren't many high-level venerables, Yun Tianlong said. This time we caught them off guard. In future battles it won't be so easy. We have to be faster. Although I removed the split crystal from the teleportation array, the sects near Profound Secret's royal city must have teleportation arrays. They will still teleport back, Night Sorrow said. Half an hour later, the god-slaying squad finished sweeping through the Profound Secret's Imperial City's City Lord Manor. Nan Liyue handed over several storage rings to Night Sorrow. Retreat. While retreating, set fire to the city. Don't linger in battle, Night Sorrow ordered. After that, Night Sorrow led the way in front while Yun Tianlong and Xue Wuling supported him from behind. They rushed out of the city. The members of the god-slaying team didn't stay idle either. They continuously threw out torches, poison and poisonous water. Behind the group of people was a burning building. An hour later, the group left the Profound Secrets Royal City. Night Sorrow put the members of the God-slaying team into the Spacetime Pagoda and quickly flew with Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. At this moment, Jun Xuanji appeared in Profound Secrets Royal City with his men. Looking at the mess and the soaring flames of the city, their faces were filled with fury. We're still too late. The furious Shen Wenxiu spat out a mouthful of blood, dyeing his white robe red. Profound Secrets Royal City's teleportation formation couldn't be used. Knowing that Profound Secrets Royal City was under attack, Jun Xuanji brought his men to the Wandering Cloud Sword sect and flew towards Profound Secrets Royal City. However, they still didn't make it in time. Jun Xuanji arrived in front of Jun Chenya's corpse and looked at the wounds on his abdomen and head. Night Sorrow, you and I are irreconcilable. I'll definitely grind your bones to dust. Jun Chenya's body was covered with spear wounds. In the Nine Regions world, the strongest spear user below the Saint Realm was Night Sorrow. No matter how furious Jun Xuanji was, the only thing she could do now was to deal with the aftermath and stabilize the situation. Several thousand miles away from Profound Secrets Royal City, Night Sorrow led out the members of the God-slaying team and had them set up camp and prepare food. Night Sorrow, these two battles were beautiful. It can be said that the victory of our Nine Regions world has been decided. They won't dare to fight in the Nine Regions world after this, Shui Wuling said with a smile. We have too few people. It'll be troublesome if we're surrounded and intercepted. What we need to do now is to return to the Nine Regions world and take down the spatial passageway. After that, we'll bring our men to the Profound Secrets realm. Night Sorrow explained his plan. That's the best decision. I was really worried. You can just lead us here and kill. We can launch sneak attacks. If we fight head-on, we won't be a match for them, Yun Tianlong said with a smile. King Yun, Senior Shui, if you have any ideas you can tell me. Our goal is to win the war, Night Sorrow said as he took out 2 jars of wine and tossed them to Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. You've arranged it well. It's just that when you pass by the spatial passageway on your way back, you must be careful, Shui Wuling said after taking a sip of wine. Thank you for the reminder, Senior Shui. Night Sorrow nodded. Forever. Free novel reading. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow put everyone into the time-space treasure pagoda. He looked at the map and started flying. He wanted to find the nearest city and teleport to Three Sun City. One day later, Night Sorrow entered a city called Heavenly Strategy City. Dressed in white robes, Night Sorrow looked like a young master. No one would associate him with the Killing God or the Nine Regions commander. News of the war was spreading in Heavenly Strategy City. Profound Secrets Pavilion was destroyed and half of Profound Secrets Royal City was destroyed. This was a huge blow to the Profound Secrets realm. After teleporting to Three Sun City, Night Sorrow flew directly to the spatial passageway. He had to go back and organize the battle as soon as possible. When he arrived near the spatial passageway, Night Sorrow used the same method. He tore open the space and advanced through the spatial turbulence. Gutianyu's formation was very domineering, but so what? The spatial passageway Night Sorrow was moving through was completely different from the one he had set up. The inescapable net was useless. Within the spatial turbulence, Night Sorrow used his spiritual strength to probe the spatial passageway. He found that the strength of the ambush at the spatial passageway was not as strong as before. This meant that the Profound Secrets realm's people had already retreated. After passing through the blockade, Night Sorrow had Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling leave the time-space treasure pagoda. He told them that in order to confirm the situation in the Western Nether region, it would be best to first go to Western Nether City and Eastern Cloud City to investigate. Shui Wuling and Yun Tianlong naturally agreed. The two of them had absolute faith in Night Sorrow. After investigating, the three of them found that Western Nether City and Eastern Cloud City were empty cities that had been looted. There were no Profound Secrets realm people there. Taking out a flying ship, Night Sorrow sent the God-slaying squad out of the time-space treasure pagoda. They all drank and chatted. Haha, we destroyed their biggest sect and city. That's really satisfying, laughed Yun Tianlong. Chapter 847. When the airship appeared in the sky above the domain C of the Three Yuan domain, the bugle horn of the Nine Domains world sounded. It was the invincible venerable Wu Di from the Qingtian domain. You pig brain, that's Night Sorrow's ship. Looking at Wu Di, the Grand Elder directly scolded. Wu Di rubbed his nose and didn't say anything. He had fought with the Eastern Shen region and Northern Sea region before, so he still felt a little awkward. After controlling the airship to land, Night Sorrow's group walked out of the airship. What's the situation? Long Xianxing led the 9 regions' saints and sovereigns to greet them. Not bad, Night Sorrow said with a smile after putting away the airship. Haha, he's too modest. We fought twice and won both times. Now that the Profound Mysteries realm has retreated, we can take back the Western Nether region at any time, Yun Tianlong said with a smile. Can we take back the Western Nether region? Saint Heavenly Underworld asked excitedly. FG latest L chapter on *F-net, West Underworld City, Eastern Cloud City, and other places no longer have any troops from the Profound Mysteries realm. The main reason is that we followed Night Sorrow to the Profound Mysteries Pavilion's mountain gate. We killed their vice pavilion lord and burned down their mountain gate. We also attacked their largest city, the Profound Mysteries Imperial City. They had no choice but to retreat, Shui Wuling said. She was extremely excited when she talked about these 2 battles. In war, time and opportunity are very important. Let's discuss the next step of the plan. Night Sorrow nodded to the group and walked towards the central tent. After Heavenly Underworld Saint sat down, he said, "We saints will not participate. The others are not as smart and powerful as you. You can fight however you want. Yes, you can make the arrangements as you see fit." Long Xianxing nodded. Night Sorrow stood up and said, "All right then, I'll give my opinion first. If anyone feels that it's inappropriate or lacking, you can add on." Following that, Night Sorrow made his own arrangements. First, Yi Wuyo would lead a small group of people to continue guarding this place. Is that really necessary? Hu Xiao asked. It's necessary. If the Profound Mysteries realm has people hiding in the Western Nether realm, they can break through the defensive line and start a war inside the 9 regions world while we're defenseless. We'll be in a passive position and the advantages we've accumulated will be gone. Night Sorrow explained his reasons for making such arrangements. That is indeed the case. I was just spouting nonsense. Please continue with the arrangements. Hu Xiao cupped his hands and sat down. Secondly, get the formation masters to come over and set up the teleportation formations on the airships. War requires speed. Our attack and retreat routes must be fast and convenient. The teleportation formations must be fully set up and put into use, said Night Sorrow. Leave this task to me. I will arrange it immediately, said Elder Hua Haining of Tianji Tower. Third, gather half of the people and the array Grand Master. Follow me to take control of the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow said to Grand Elder and Lu Qin. Gather half of the people. What about the rest? Asked Grand Elder. Ask the elders of Tianji Tower and Night Moon's invincible venerables to lead the team and eliminate the enemy forces in the Western Nether realm, Night Sorrow said to Grand Elder. After listening to Night Sorrow's orders, everyone nodded. This arrangement was almost perfect. Half an hour later, Grand Elder had finished selecting the people. Then let's go. I'll have to trouble Father and Mother to take care of the defensive line here for a while. Night Sorrow nodded to Yi Wuyo and Yu Qin. Then the group set off on the airship. At this time, the 9 Realms world had gathered 7 airships. The Saints, 9 Realms Venerables and Night Sorrow sat in one. City Lord Tai Shu, City Lord Lu, we've gained a lot this time. The resources we looted from the Profound Pavilion are in these 3 storage rings. The resources we looted from the Profound Secrets Imperial City are in these 5 storage rings. I didn't take a look at the details. Yishan took out 8 storage rings and gave them to City Lord Tai Shu and Lu Qin. You brought people to fight. These resources were obtained by you. Naturally, you should keep them, said Grand Elder. Take them. The victory of the war was the result of everyone's cooperation. You, City Lord Lu Qin, and the others discuss what needs to be replenished and what needs to be used. In addition, the Western Nether realm needs resources to be rebuilt, said Night Sorrow. All right. Let's discuss the use of the resources later. Grand Elder thought for a moment and nodded. This is the storage ring of the Profound Pavilion's Vice Pavilion Lord. This is the storage ring of the Imperial City's City Lord, Jun Tianya. Night Sorrow took out 2 more storage rings. During the war, looting warehouses and mansions is considered war resources. You killed the enemy's leader, so what the leader had is naturally yours. Don't take it out. None of us are thick-skinned enough to take it, said Lu Qin. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow put away the 2 storage rings. He didn't insist. If he did, it would be unreasonable and meaningless. If there's a chance, we must kill the leader. He has a lot of resources, said Yun Huang. You little brat, shut up. The leader can be killed at will. If I see him, I'll have to hide, scolded Yun Tianlong. Yun Huang shrunk his neck and didn't say anything. If he spoke again, he'd be scolded again. A bunch of brats. If you didn't have a good leader, you'd all be lying in your base right now. But you're not bad, said Shui Wuling with a smile. Yun Huang and the others nodded. They also understood that if Night Sorrow hadn't held them back, they wouldn't have been able to fight on the battlefield. After crossing the Realm Sea, Grand Elder and the others began to make arrangements. Some set up teleportation formations, while others led people to clean up the enemy. Night Sorrow's main force didn't stop. They kept moving toward the spatial channel's entrance. Once they were near the spatial channel's entrance, they put away their spatial ships. Formation Grandmasters, be careful. We'll suppress the enemy first, then break the formation and occupy this place. Night Sorrow led his people forward. After advancing for a while, Shang shouted for everyone to pay attention. He had discovered traces of a formation. 2 unrivaled supremacies come and protect Grandmaster Shang. Night Sorrow shouted behind him. As soon as Night Sorrow gave the order, some people followed to protect Shang. Shang began to study the formation. As he occasionally sent spirit stones into the formation, the enemy's formation lost its effect. At this time, the Profound Mysteries Realms people at the spatial channel's entrance became vigilant. Yi Shantian pulled back Ren Tianji, who was about to fight. We can't rashly fight. The enemy is coming out in full force. If the formation doesn't work, we can only retreat. Vice Commander Yi, are we just going to surrender this place? Asked one of the Profound Mysteries Realm's unrivaled supremacies. Chapter 848. After advancing for a few miles, Entropy stopped. What's wrong? You can't break it? Vice Palace Lord, it's not that I can't break it. I just don't have enough spirit stones, said Entropy embarrassedly. The Grand Elder shook his head speechlessly. He gave Entropy a spatial ring. Use it as you wish. You must break this formation. This is called the Annihilation Formation. There's also a spatial ceiling formation. It won't be a problem for me. Entropy led the other 2 formation grandmasters forward. T-Head 1, Vice Commander Yi, some of them know how to set up the Annihilation Formation. If the formation can't hold, it's too late to set up another formation, said Gutianyu. Damn it, go to the spatial channel and set up another formation. Yi Shantian waved his hand at Gutianyu and had the people near the spatial channel retreat to the Profound Mysteries Realm's side. He knew they couldn't hold this side. Through the formation, Yi Shantian knew how strong the people from the 9 regions world were. If the Profound Mysteries Realm's high-level experts were all here, then it would be fine. But now, there was only a portion of them. If they fought head-on, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. While Entropy was breaking his own formation, he was also directing the other formation grandmasters. His progress was very fast. When all the formations were broken, there were no longer any people from the Profound Mysteries realm here. They just retreated. Let's go in, said the Grand Elder to Night Sorrow. I'll think about it. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and pondered. Leave half of us here. City Lord Grand Elder will be in charge. The others, including Protector Entropy, enter my spatial treasure. Senior Saints, don't say anything. Don't interfere with the battle. Just watch the show. Night Sorrow took out the Spacetime Pagoda and enlarged it. At this time, no one was worried about whether or not it was safe to enter Night Sorrow's spatial treasure. They all entered the Spacetime Pagoda. Then Night Sorrow used a spatial crack to tear through the spatial channel's spatial barrier and enter the chaotic flow of space. After passing through the spatial tunnel, Yi Shantian and the others watched in shock as he broke through the spatial barrier between the spatial tunnel and the Profound Mysteries realm. He entered the spatial crack in the Profound Mysteries realm. Sect Master Yi, our formation can't stop this situation. Gutianyu's expression was extremely ugly because the array formation set up at the intersection of the spatial passageway and the Profound Mysteries realm could not stop Night Sorrow from tearing through space. It's not your fault. Their means are too sharp. However, they wouldn't dare to rush out of the spatial crack. Once they do, the matrix will be activated, Yi Shantian said. Night Sorrow traversed through the spatial turbulence for more than 15 kilometers. When he felt that the spatial barrier had returned to normal, he tore through space and returned to the Profound Mysteries realm. Everyone spread out and defend. Kill anyone that comes out. Night Sorrow gave the order. At the same time, he brought Lu Qin and Shui Wuhan to protect Shang. Night Sorrow was also breaking the array under Shang's command. He was also an array master. It was just that he hadn't studied array formations recently. We are surrounded. Through the formation, Yi Shintian noticed the situation outside and sighed. Then sneak attack and kill that array master. That way the formation will be able to hold on, said Gutianyu. Yi Shintian nodded and sent a pinnacle honorable to follow Gutianyu to kill Shang. However, Yi Shang had already thought of this and severely injured Gutianyu. The pinnacle honorable was suppressed by Lu Qin and Shui Wuheng before being killed. Grandmaster Gu, lead the way. Find the weakest point of their seal. Evil monarch will break out. Yi Shintian knew that if they didn't leave now, they wouldn't be able to. The path that Gutianyu and the Profound Mysteries realm took was the path that Yun Tianlong and his people had been guarding. As soon as they appeared, Yun Tianlong let out a long whistle. Hearing Yun Tianlong's howl, Yi Saro led his men over. This was an opportunity to deal a heavy blow to the Profound Mysteries realm. If they could kill one more expert, they would have one less opponent in the following battles. When Knight Sorrow and the others arrived, the battle was in chaos. Ren Tianji and Yi Shintian were attacking Yun Tianlong. Fortunately, Yun Tianlong wasn't fighting to the death. He was just stalling for time, so he wasn't in too much danger. However, he had been stabbed in the back. When he saw Knight Sorrow and the others arrive, Ren Tianji's body flashed and left the battlefield. Yi Shintian wasn't so lucky. He was firmly entangled by Yun Tianlong. Knight Sorrow did not chase after Ren Tianji. Without being affected by the advantages and disadvantages of entering the battle, it would be very difficult for Ren Tianji to catch up to him if he wanted to run. In the end, Ren Tianji's fighting spirit activated his energy, and his energy was endless. Even Knight Sorrow could not exhaust him. Knight Sorrow also didn't join the battle because it was meaningless. The 9 regions world's unrivaled venerables were killing the Profound Mysteries realm's people. There was no way for them to escape. Half an hour later, the battle ended. Only Ren Tianji had managed to escape. The others had all been killed. Next, Shang continued to break the formation. He completely destroyed the formation near the spatial channel. We have the battle situation under control, said the Grand Elder. That should be the case. Protector Shang, please work harder and set up a killing formation here. In the future, we won't give them a chance to enter our 9 regions world. The formation must be a composite one. It can't be broken easily, Knight Sorrow said to Shang. Young master, you're too polite. This isn't a problem. I won't make the same mistake as them. I'll make some formations that haven't appeared before. Shang nodded at Knight Sorrow. Then, the 9 regions world's people began to set up camp. Some people also reported the situation to the 9 regions saint through the spatial channel. Knowing that the situation was under control, the 9 regions saint went through the channel and arrived at the command tent that Knight Sorrow had just set up. Knight Sorrow, I thank you on behalf of the millions of creatures in the Western Nether region. Sky Underworld Saint cupped his hands at Knight Sorrow. Senior Sky Underworld Saint, you don't have to do this. Everyone in the 9 regions world is responsible for the war in the 9 regions world. Knight Sorrow is naturally responsible for it. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands in return. You're right. But because of my impatience, the Western Nether region fell. I'm responsible for it. Fortunately, you took action and solved all these problems. Sky Underworld Saint smiled. Knight Sorrow, what's the plan next? Xiaolanjun asked. Everyone was particularly excited and happy now. We'll turn the tables around. With the advantage in hand, there's no need to rush. Let's clean up the Western Nether region first. After all, the war is in our hands now. We can fight however we want. Knight Sorrow was the first to speak. Then let's follow your train of thought. After the Western Nether region is cleaned up, there won't be any unstable elements in the 9 regions world. Long Shenxing nodded. Shang and the other formation grandmasters began to get busy. Knight Sorrow also began to set up formations. Although he didn't know how to destroy formations, Knight Sorrow was still capable of setting up ordinary formations. As he set up the formations, Knight Sorrow's attainments in formations also increased. All-round talent. Lu Qin sighed emotionally as she watched Knight Sorrow, Shang, and the other formation grandmasters busying themselves. Back then when I first met him he was still young. It's only been a few years since then. Heroes come from troubled times, said the Grand Elder. Chapter 849. That's a domineering title, said Lu Qin. Little girl, you only know how domineering a title is. You don't know the meaning behind it. When a cultivator's body reaches a certain level, their body will become immortal. When a cultivator's soul reaches a certain level, their soul will become immortal. Immortality is the goal of all cultivators, but that doesn't mean they can be called immortal, said Long Xianxing. Lu Qin blushed. If others called her a little girl, they would be asking for a beating. But Long Xianxing didn't go overboard at all. Senior Long Xianxing, does that mean immortality is a realm? Asked Grand Elder. I don't know. Maybe it's a cultivation realm or maybe it's an achievement. There's no limit to cultivation. You've all seen Yi Shang's body. Even a peak venerable could only slightly injure him. If someone had told you before that a venerable could cultivate his body to this level, would you have believed it? Asked Long Xianxing. I've never heard of it and I've never seen it. Naturally, I wouldn't believe it. Lu Qin nodded. As he cultivates, his body will become more domineering, said Long Xianxing. At this time, Night Sorrow returned. Seniors are all here. In 2 days this place will be impregnable. Of course, if the other party's venerables can also tear through space, we won't be able to defend against them. In addition, we found their transportation formation outside the formation. It has already been destroyed. If the transportation formation was at the entrance of the spatial passage, we wouldn't have been able to kill them and would have escaped long ago, said Night Sorrow. There are very few cultivators with spatial attributes. Being able to tear through space is even more difficult. This is the terrifying talent of your Night Clan, said Xiaolanjun with a smile. Night Sorrow took a sip of tea from Yang Lei and said, after this place is stabilized, leave some people here. The rest will go to the Western Nether region and search for the remnants of the Profound Mysteries realm. Long Xianxing and the others nodded. They all agreed with Night Sorrow's suggestion. After drinking a sip of tea, Night Sorrow continued to work on the formation. This was also a tempering for him. The venerables were drinking tea in the tent. Steady. That's what it means to be steady, Long Xing said. In the beginning I believed in his ability, True Sea Saint said. I believed in his strategy and wisdom, but I was worried that he was young and not calm enough. But it seems that he is very calm. Not only is his plan flawless, he is also very experienced. This is the fortune of our 9 regions world. Nan Ganxing nodded. Region Lord Wu, your Eastern Xian region shouldn't start a region war. We really can't handle it. If you have any problems in the future, just say it. The Flying Tiger Saint said with a smile. That won't happen. Our Eastern Xian region only seeks to develop ourselves. We're not willing to fight outside. However, we're not afraid of fighting outside. Wu Lingfei smiled. You're not afraid of fighting outside, but we are, said Saint Tian Hades. Our 9 realms should be united. I hope that the 9 realms will never have a civil war, Xiaolanjun said. The other saints nodded as well. It could be said that this was a great ambition. After setting up the array formation, Entropy led the array formation master through the spatial tunnel and went to the 9-domain world to set up the array formation. The 9 realms world side left behind a few essential members, while the others went to the Western Nether region to search for the remaining members of the Profound Mysteries realm. Yishang was free now. Every day he would meditate and cultivate, stabilizing his cultivation and stabilizing it. After a few battles, Night Sorrow was convinced that he was invincible beneath the Saint realm. As his cultivation base increased, that invincibility would only continue to increase. Hurry up! Hurry up! The God-slaying squad's members were cultivating at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. There were also saints willing to give them pointers. After cultivating a spatial crack and entering the spacetime pagoda to recover, Night Sorrow took out the spoils he had obtained from the Profound Mysteries realm. Yu Heng's storage ring was very rich in resources. There were over 1,000 top-grade spirit stones and 50 to 60 top-grade spirit stones. In addition, there were also many alchemy and refining materials. This was a supplement for Yi Shang, who did not have many top-grade spirit stones. When he opened Jun Chenya's spatial ring, Night Sorrow was a bit dumbfounded. What's wrong? Shueshi brewed a pot of tea and asked Night Sorrow. How can that old fellow's wealth be so deep? Night Sorrow poured out everything in Jun Chenya's spatial ring. What's going on? Shueshi was also dumbfounded. The amount of resources Night Sorrow had taken out was too terrifying. Not to mention high-grade spirit stones, there were 300 or 400 top-grade spirit stones, and there were even over 20 Saint spirit stones. There were all kinds of attribute crystals and there were even 2 void Dao stones. The most eye-catching thing was that there were over a dozen spirit artifacts. It's that City Lord's spatial ring, said Night Sorrow. Yes, that makes sense. He's the City Lord of Profound Mysteries Imperial City and the head of the Jun family. It's normal for him to keep some high-grade resources, said Shueshi. Due to the Saint contract, she couldn't participate in the battle, so she hadn't come out of the spacetime pagoda. However, she knew some things. Haha, last time I went to Supreme Sky City I used up a lot of resources. Not only did I make up for it but I also have a lot left over. I can use it however I want, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Shueshi was also happy for Night Sorrow. Having more resources was equivalent to paving the way for Night Sorrow. Shueshi, there's still something wrong. Normally he shouldn't have Saint Spirit stones. The Profound Mysteries realm is similar to the Nine Regions world, so it's impossible for them to produce Saint Spirit stones, said Night Sorrow. There are many possibilities. Our Nine Regions world is connected to a different space. If cultivators go there, the cultivators of the Profound Mysteries realm can also go there, said Shueshi. I know. It's possible. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't want the Profound Mysteries realm to be connected to a higher realm. After organizing the resources, Night Sorrow put them away. It feels good to have a lot of resources, said Night Sorrow as he tidied up his robes and paced back and forth. You're not just a lot of resources. You're a moving treasure trove. Whoever robbed you could support a sect for years, said Shueshi with a smile. She knew how much resources Night Sorrow had accumulated. It's always been me robbing others. The only one I let off was you, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Shueshi's situation was very bad at that time, so Night Sorrow didn't have the heart to touch her storage ring. Yes, I have to thank you for this, said Shueshi with a smile. After flirting with Shueshi for a while, Night Sorrow came out of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda and gathered everyone at the God-Slaying Team's camp. Nan Liue, distribute these storage rings. Those who didn't get one, don't worry. Everything will be given. Also, I got some weapons this time, distribute them. The principle of this batch of weapons is that those who enter the Supremacy Realm will get it first. Those with compatible attributes will get it first. Yishang took out a dozen spiritual weapons and handed them to Nan Liue. Captain, these are all spirit artifacts. Nan Liue looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. Yes, so the principle is that the venerables get first. But everyone will get one sooner or later. Do you believe me? Shouted Night Sorrow. Chapter 850. So many spirit artifacts. Are these spirit artifacts for your brothers? Xiaolanjun asked. Night Sorrow looked at the group of saints and said, We've gained a lot from the battles during this period of time. Let's equip our brothers. Seniors, if you have any low-grade weapons, take them out if you don't need them. There's no point in keeping them. Us brothers are the ones who truly kill the enemy. Alright, you win. Zhen Haixing took out 2 sabers and handed them to Night Sorrow. The others also took out some weapons, the least of which was a spirit artifact. Brothers, thank you seniors. Night Sorrow shouted. In response to Night Sorrow's words, the members of the God-Slaying Squad howled. Skull. LF initial high hair I, in the future you can't just casually watch. You'll lose weight if you do. Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Night Sorrow and said. Hearing Heavenly Underworld Saint's words, everyone laughed. However, seeing your strength increase and being able to fight better for the 9 zones, I don't feel any heartache. Heavenly Underworld Saint said while stroking his beard. After letting the members of the God-Slaying Squad make their own arrangements, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and chatted with the Saint of the 9 Realms. The 9 Domains world had stabilized, but the Profound Mysteries realm was in chaos. Jun Xuanji had set up a defensive line near the Three Suns mountain range in the Three Suns city. Unlike the 9 Regions world, the Profound Mysteries realm did not have a barrier like the Realm Sea. The atmosphere in Jun Xuanji's command tent was oppressive because the Profound Mysteries realm had suffered too much recently. They had lost nearly half of their strength and this was before the real battle. Grand Elder, we won't be able to defend like this. We can only fight head-on. Jun Xuanji was wearing a plain white dress because too many people had died in the family. Jun Qinya was her grandfather. Our terrain is indeed not suitable for defense. It can be said that if they want to come in, they can come in, Xian Wenxiu said. Grand Elder, I'll make the arrangements right away. Jun Xuanji looked at Xian Wenxiu. Since it's already come this far, you can go all out, Xian Wenxiu said. Shang Luo also nodded. The mysterious Heaven Sword sect still existed, but the sect master had died in battle. All the peak sovereigns had died in battle. After that, Jun Xuanji gave the order to surround the spatial passageway and prevent the cultivators of the 9-domain world from entering the Profound Mysteries realm. Then what should we do with the group that's still in the hinterlands of our Profound Mysteries realm? A man asked. He was the sect master of the Flowing Cloud Sword sect, Yu Feng. He's determined to kill me. Everyone, if you see that Night Sorrow, send out saints to kill him. Grand Elder Shen, can you make the arrangements? Jun Xuanji looked at Xian Wenxiu with killing intent. Jun Xuanji's words stunned everyone in the command tent. This was a ruthless move. Not only was he ruthless to the enemy, but he was also ruthless to his own people. I can arrange it. Gunanxing, do you have any questions? Xian Wenxiu looked at one of the saints. No problem. As long as there's any news, notify me and I'll act. One of the saints nodded. They only have 1 or 2 sovereigns that we can't suppress. We'll send out the weakest saints. Once we kill those 2, the situation will change. Remember, saints will die if they attack, so we have to end the battle quickly. Kill them before the world's laws descend, even if we have to self-detonate, said Xian Wenxiu. All right. Gunanxing nodded. Gunanxing, as long as I'm alive, no one can touch your family or sect, said Xian Wenxiu. Many thanks, Saint Xian. Perhaps this is the time for me to contribute to the profound mysteries realm. Gunanxing cupped his hands toward Xian Wenxiu. Then Jun Xuanji ordered all the profound mysteries realm's warriors to head toward the spatial passageway. She wanted to fight a decisive battle ahead of time. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, someone came to inform Night Sorrow that the profound mysteries realm's people were about to arrive. After leaving the tent, Night Sorrow saw that the formation had been activated. The spatial passageway was filled with chaotic spatial energy, and anyone who dared to enter would be killed. Night Sorrow raised his reincarnation spear and walked out of the formation. He stood at the edge of the formation and looked at the profound mysteries realm's people. Jun Xuanji had led his people to completely seal off the area. What, you can't hold on anymore and want to fight ahead of time? Asked Night Sorrow as he looked at the veiled Jun Xuanji. Do you dare? Jun Xuanji spat out. Of course I dare, but I don't want to. If I fight however you want me to, I'll lose face. Remember, I'll fight however I want you to. If I want to fight, I'll fight. If I want to steadily advance, I'll steadily advance. What can you do to me? Night Sorrow directly pointed out the profound mysteries realm's passive situation. Remember, this formation isn't omnipotent. Once we flatten this formation, we'll slaughter our way into the 9 domain worlds. We'll slaughter everyone, said Jun Xuanji through clenched teeth. Slaughter everyone? Fine, if you want to slaughter everyone, then I'll slaughter everyone. The next time I slaughter a city, you'll have to pay the price for saying those words, said Night Sorrow as he pointed his reincarnation spear in the direction of the profound mysteries realm. Last time we only killed cultivators. It seems there was no need for that. They're the ones who crossed the line, said Yun Tianlong as he stood beside Night Sorrow. Formation masters, break the formation. Jun Xuanji waved his hand. A few formation masters came out from the profound mysteries realm and were about to break the formation. Night Sorrow raised his protective barrier. As long as the formation masters came close, he would attack. He had an absolute advantage fighting at the edge of the formation. Grand Elder Xian, arrange for people, said Jun Xuanji as he glanced at the group of saints behind him. Aloof saint, capture him. Xian Wenxiu looked at a saint behind him. The saint from the ancient south was waiting for Night Sorrow's news in the profound mysteries realm, so he could only choose another person. This was a tall saint. When Xian Wenxiu called out his name, he was stunned for a moment. His eyes were filled with sadness. He knew that he was cannon fodder that the profound mysteries realm used to fight against the supremacies. Leng Yun's figure flashed as he charged towards Yishan. Retreat, shouted Night Sorrow. He knew that the situation wasn't right. He had thought that it would either be Jun Xuanji or Ren Tianji, but he hadn't expected it to be a saint. Following Night Sorrow's roar, Yun Tianlong, the grand uncles, and the others retreated into the formation. After Night Sorrow roared, his protective barrier slashed diagonally and he dodged to the side. He couldn't retreat. There were people from the 9 regions behind him, and he didn't want to bring danger to them. Night Sorrow's body flashed extremely quickly, but the aloof saint was even faster. He directly charged at Night Sorrow. At this moment, clouds appeared in the sky and rapidly descended. Night Sorrow knew that this was the punishment of the world's law power. He had to survive before the world's law power killed the opponent's saint. The opponent was using a self-harming tactic to kill him. Spatial Crack. Night Sorrow used Spatial Rend and then drilled into the spatial fissure. Aloof Saint couldn't let Night Sorrow escape, so he clasped his hands together. Seal. Chapter 851. Since he couldn't enter the spatial crack, Night Sorrow switched his protective barrier to the faster protective barrier of his bloodline. Then he turned and slashed, dodging Leng Jun's path. You must die today. Lung Jun continued to chase after Night Sorrow. He knew that he didn't have much time left. The power of the regulations of the world would arrive soon. Lung Jun was a saint and he was confident in his own strength. However, he knew that he would definitely die when facing the power of the regulations of the world. Even the Open Cloud Saint, a high-level saint, couldn't do it, let alone him, a 3-star saint. Night Sorrow didn't intend to fight with the saint. Putting aside the large difference in strength between them, Jun Xuanji had also unsheathed his sword. As long as he was entangled, he would be attacked from both sides. When Night Sorrow planned to retreat into the formation, he realized that Lung Jun's body was beginning to swell. Night Sorrow could even see the energy crazily circulating inside Lung Jun's body. Self-detonation. How could Night Sorrow not be able to analyze this situation? Gritting his teeth, he charged towards the Profound Mysteries Realm's camp. If you want to self-detonate, then come. Send more saints to stop me. Seeing Night Sorrow charge towards their camp, Xian Wenxiu was stunned. Jun Xuanji was also stunned. They didn't know how to control themselves. Sending more saints would be useless. That would be a loss for nothing. Don't come over. Jun Xuanji shouted at Lung Jun as he drew his sword to block Night Sorrow. Xian Wenxiu really wanted to tell him to go into the formation and self-detonate, but he didn't dare to. Once he did, it would be a violation of the Saint contract. Lung Jun, who didn't dare to charge forward and couldn't drag Night Sorrow down with him, was dumbfounded. He could only allow the uncontrollable energy to break through his body. Night Sorrow didn't get entangled with Jun Xuanji. He slashed his protective barrier twice and changed direction, landing at the place where Lung Jun had died. With a wave of his left hand, he grabbed Lung Jun's storage ring and Saint Crystal. Then he entered the formation. Jun Xuanji chased after her for a few steps before retreating to a safe area. She didn't dare to approach the array formation area. Not only would she be attacked by the array formation, but she would also be attacked by the people inside the array formation. No one attacked, so Night Sorrow walked out of the array and smiled as he looked at Jun Xuanji and the others. Quite ruthless saints fighting against sovereigns. Not bad. Thank you for these Saint Crystals and storage rings. You'll definitely die. Jun Xuanji was about to go crazy with rage. Not only had the Grim Saint failed to kill Night Sorrow, but he had also given Night Sorrow a Saint Crystal and a spatial ring for free. She knew that the Grim Saint's spatial ring was filled with valuable resources. Smelly mouth, you're boasting shamelessly again. You have any ideas? Come at me. I'll see how you guys play before I decide how to play. There are so many cities and sects on this map. I can attack wherever I want. Night Sorrow took out the map of the Profound Mysteries realm and shook it. #you. It wasn't just Jun Xuanji. All of the cultivators from the Profound Mysteries realm were angered by Night Sorrow. This was a provocation, a threat, but it wasn't a threat at all. It was a clear deterrence. If you want to start a war, then you'll have to bear the consequences. Pass down my orders. If any array formation masters come near, kill them at all costs, Night Sorrow said to the cultivators of the 9 regions hidden in the array formation before retreating. Jun Xuanji thought for a moment before waving his sleeve. Don't worry about resources. Use a large array to cover their array formation. Cover this entire place. Xian Wenxiu turned and returned to his tent. He knew that Jun Xuanji's strategy was correct. It was just that sometimes, it wasn't effective. Night Sorrow returned to the 9 regions world's tent and poured himself a cup of tea. He took a sip and said, the Profound Mysteries realm can't be stabilized anymore. Night Sorrow, this is our mistake. We didn't have time to help you just now, Heavenly Underworld Saint said apologetically. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, our saints shouldn't do anything. Just now the world's laws almost descended. Going against the Heavenly Tao oath won't end well. Our saints intercepted their saints. That's not interfering in the war but stopping it, said Long Xianxing. Saints have to be extremely careful. They don't have any humanity left. If a saint wants to be cannon fodder, then they'll be cannon fodder. Night Sorrow knew that the Profound Mysteries realm was being ruthless. If a saint doesn't do anything, then no one will be able to contend against you. They're also helpless. It's just that they're being too unscrupulous, said Xiaolanjun. War is cruel. It's normal to be ruthless to the enemy, but it's also ruthless to your own people. But that's fine. I'll be more careful in the future. I don't believe that they have many saints to fight with, snorted Night Sorrow. He felt that the Profound Mysteries realm was being ruthless to their own people. Night Sorrow, from now on, you just need to make the tactical arrangements. We'll leave the fighting to the others, said Yun Tianlong. Yi Shang shook his head. The other side had Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji, Two ferocious people below the saint stage. Other than him who could restrain them and Yi Wuyo who could contend against them, the others could only be killed. That's too shameless, cursed Shui Wuling. War is about using everything, said Night Sorrow calmly. Soon, Lu Qin came to report that the other side was building a defensive formation. Should the 9 regions army attack now? No. If we fight head-on, we'll suffer great losses. Night Sorrow rejected Lu Qin's suggestion. How can there be no deaths in war? Night Sorrow, we're determined to fight to the death for the 9 regions world, said the Grand Uncles. We need to use our skills to fight. The lives of the Profound Mysteries Realms people are like grass, but the lives of the 9 regions world's people are precious to me. Martial Uncle Grand Uncles, arrange for people to hide in the formation. As soon as their formation masters come, use hidden weapons and poison. Notify the Sanyuan region's defensive line and the Western Nether region's people to come, ordered Night Sorrow. The Grand Uncles cupped their hands and went to make the arrangements. Monarch Yun, Senior Shui, I'll go out in a bit. When I attack Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji, you two lead the other venerables to attack. Remember, when I say retreat, you have to retreat, said Night Sorrow to Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling. All right, we'll listen to you. Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling nodded. The two of you don't get too close. Don't tangle with the other side's venerables. Just attack the mid and early venerables. Their saints shouldn't attack you. After that, throw the poison into their crowd, said Night Sorrow. Haha, just thinking about it makes me happy, laughed Shui Wuling. Then let's go. Night Sorrow raised his reincarnation spear and left the tent. He entered the formation and approached the Profound Mysteries Realms camp. Long Xianxing and Heavenly Underworld Saint also followed behind. They were afraid that Night Sorrow would be tricked by the saints. If that happened, it would be the fault of their saints. Chapter 852. The reincarnation spear in Night Sorrow's right hand shot toward Jun Xuanji. When Jun Xuanji blocked with his sword, Night Sorrow's body moved in an arc, and the target of the spear became Ren Tianji. If you dare to come out, then die. Jun Xuanji roared and waved his sword toward Night Sorrow. Jun Qianya's death and the Jun family's destruction made Jun Xuanji extremely angry. He couldn't wait to kill Night Sorrow. This was the effect that Night Sorrow wanted. He wanted to restrain Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji, and then let Yun Tianlong, Shui Wuling, and the others attack and kill the others. At this time, Long Xianxing and Heavenly Underworld Saints stood at the edge of the array and looked at the saints of the Profound Mysteries Realm. As long as the saints of the Profound Mysteries Realm dared to attack, they would stop them. Before the heavenly punishment arrived, the sovereigns of the 9 regions world would be safe. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear moved freely and began to fight with Ren Tianji and Jun Xuanji. Although Ren Tianji didn't enter the state of losing himself due to the killing intent, he still used his killing intent to activate his saber. His combat strength was far beyond ordinary sovereigns. When Jun Xuanji attacked with his sword, he also used the 4 extreme combined attack to suppress Night Sorrow and let Ren Tianji kill him. Night Sorrow roared, and the law of nothingness rippled in all directions, forcing Jun Xuanji's 4 extreme combined attack away from the area around him. Then he continued to attack Ren Tianji with his spear. The violent spear aura suppressed Ren Tianji completely. Night Sorrow chose to suppress Ren Tianji because he had a reason. He wanted to suppress Ren Tianji until he entered the state of bedevilment. At that time he wouldn't be a threat to the people of the 9 regions world and would be a big trouble for the Profound Mysteries Realm. The battle was very fierce. Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling didn't fight the sovereigns of the Profound Mysteries Realm. Instead they killed ordinary sovereigns. Others couldn't interfere in the battle between Night Sorrow, Jun Xuanji, and Ren Tianji. The 3 of them were peak cultivators below the Saint Realm, and their combat strength was even comparable to Saints. Whether it was sword chi, saber astral blade, or spear chi, they could all injure and kill people. As the battle raged on, Night Sorrow let out a long howl. Void True Chi and Power of Desolates alternated attacks, suppressing Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji to the point that they could only defend and could not attack. How you want to fight? I'll accompany you to the end? I'll accompany you to the end? Whatever you want to fight, you want to fight. I'll accompany you to the end. I'll accompany you will to the end? I will fight you, I to the end, I will fight will to the end, will the world sorrow fight me? Long Xianxing looked at Xian Wenxiu. Xian Wenxiu's body was surging with energy, and he seemed to have the intention to attack. Noticing Long Xuanxing's saber, Xian Wenxiu didn't move. Even if he wanted to risk the wrath of heaven to kill Yi Shang, Long Xianxing and Heavenly Underworld Saint wouldn't allow it. At that moment Yun Tianlong shouted, "Commander, it's about time." Knight Sorrow turned to look. He saw that after Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling killed some people, they were being chased by the other side's sovereigns. They couldn't do anything else, so he gave the order, "Retreat." After forcing Jun Xuanji back with a spear strike, Yi Shang's body drew a semicircle, bypassing Ren Tianji who was attacking him. Then, with 2 slashes from his Qi shield, he arrived at the edge of the array formation. Knight Sorrow ignored the eyes of the Profound Mysteries Realms people. He looked at Yun Tianlong and Shui Wuling and asked, "How are the results?" "Sovereign Wu Hen Me and the others killed more than a dozen mid-level sovereigns. We didn't count the low-level sovereigns," Yun Tianlong reported. "It's okay. We don't need to count the low-level sovereigns. Hey, you guys, be careful. I'm going to drink some tea. It's hard to say when we'll fight again. If we're in a good mood we might continue to kill. If we're in a bad mood we might take it out on you guys. Let's go." Knight Sorrow raised his reincarnation spear and gave the order to retreat. After returning to the tent, Knight Sorrow brewed some tea and drank it. Today's killing was really satisfying. "Haha, they must be wondering if Commander Knight Sorrow's mood is good or bad," Shui Wuling said with a laugh. "Yeah, whether he's in a good mood or not is a good thing," Yun Tianlong said with a smile. Today they had suppressed the Profound Mysteries Realms people. Everyone was relieved. Next, Knight Sorrow talked about the current problem. The sovereigns and peak sovereigns hadn't arrived yet. Compared to the 9 upper regions they were at a disadvantage. So they had to play it safe. "Knight Sorrow, I'm not worried about this. The main thing is that you have to be careful. They've really been driven crazy. The saints are willing to risk the heavenly Tao's condemnation to kill you. This explains the situation," Long Xianxing said. "That's true. I'll be careful." Knight Sorrow nodded. "This kind of situation will happen to you and your father. If it's someone else they won't fight so hard." Heavenly Underworld Saint looked at Knight Sorrow, then at the other sovereigns and said, "We're not afraid. From another perspective, it's equivalent to us sovereigns killing their saints," Yun Tianlong said. "You're dreaming. I'll talk about it when he sees you." Grand Uncle, who had returned from the spatial tunnel, looked at Yun Tianlong and said, "She had already arranged the deployment. City Lord Grand Uncle, this king snatched your territory last time. That was his fault. In the end, didn't this king return it to you? Don't take it to heart," Yun Tianlong said. "Cool. That matter is long over. I was just stating the facts. King Yun, you're overthinking," Grand Uncle said with a smile. At night, the people of the 9 regions gathered at the entrance of the tunnel. Yu Wuyo and Night Moon were both there. This meant that the top forces of the 9 regions were all here. "We'll fight again tomorrow." After everyone sat down and talked about the current situation, Knight Sorrow made the decision. After everyone dispersed, Knight Sorrow and his parents returned to their tent. "Son, the saints of the other side are planning to make a move on you. You have to be careful," Yu Qing said to Knight Sorrow. "Mother, don't worry. I'm not a child," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "How are you not a child? No matter how great your achievements are, no matter how many wives and children you have, in my eyes, you'll always be a child." Yu Qing glared at Knight Sorrow and said, "Mother is right." Knight Sorrow stood up and bowed to Yu Qing. "Why are you so serious? The child is already a commander of the 9 regions. He knows what to do." Yi Wuyo looked at Yu Qing and said, "Wuyo, because I've lost before, I know how deep the pain is. I understand how precious everything I have today is. My son, my daughter, and you are all I have." Yu Qing wiped the corners of her eyes and said, "Mother, I understand. From now on I'll do whatever you say." Knight Sorrow said, "You have your own path, but every time you do something think about your father and me." Yu Qing nodded. After resting for a while, Knight Sorrow gathered his people. Then he looked at Yi Wuyo. "Father, when we fight later, be careful. They can do anything to saints that they can't control." Chapter 853. Knight Sorrow looked at the saints who had come with him. He then walked over to Long Xianxing and Heavenly Underworld Saint and bowed. "Don't worry." Long Xianxing nodded. He knew that Yi Shang was bowing for his family. He wanted Long Xianxing and Heavenly Underworld Saints to take care of his family. When Yi Shang fought, he never had any requests. Knight Sorrow turned around and looked at the 9 regions' invincible sovereigns and peak sovereigns. "Everyone take care. Let's drink and chat when we return." After saying that, Night Sorrow walked out of the formation and rushed toward Jun Xuanji and the others' tent. Soon Yi Wuyo and the others also came out. After Jun Xuanji led his people to surround the large array at the spatial passageway, he began to arrange the array formation. Because it required a lot of work to set up the array formation, including Entropy and the others, the Profound Mysteries Realm's main camp was set up at the front, and the array formation was set up from the corners. After Night Sorrow appeared, he threw the torch and poison at the Profound Mysteries Realm's camp. Since it was a war, there were no rules to worry about. Since Jun Xuanji had said that he would not spare even the fowls and dogs of the Nine Regions world, there was nothing wrong with the Nine Regions world being ruthless. As the Nine Regions world's people charged, the Profound Mysteries Realm's camp fell into chaos. They could only hastily fight back. This time Jun Xuanji had also miscalculated. She felt that the Nine-Domain world's strength below the Saint stage was not enough and did not dare to fight the Profound Mysteries realm head-on. However, when the Nine-Domain world's forces arrived, the difference between the two sides was not that great. Moreover, it was a surprise attack tactic. Night Sorrow was suppressing Yi Wuyo's attacks because Jun Xuanji's 4 extremes attack countered Yi Wuyo. Night Sorrow would not give him a chance to attack Yi Wuyo. On the other hand, Ren Tianji's side was very strong. However, they did not have much of an advantage against Yi Wuyo. At this time, Night Moon's 4 invincible sovereigns' power was displayed. Spatial blades continuously flew toward the Profound Mysteries Realm's camp, and the Profound Mysteries Realm's cultivators were constantly killed. At the same time, the protective barrier was of the spatial attribute, so its speed was extremely fast. CXG New Chapter. Section P. The Saints also looked at each other. The Saints of the Nine Domains world had no intention of attacking, and the Saints of the Profound Mysteries world also had no intention of attacking. If they did, they would suffer the wrath of the world's origin, and it would not be effective. The battle was extremely intense. There were injuries on the Nine Regions side, but none of them were killed. This was because there were high-level supreme experts with a joint attack formation. Regardless of their destructive power, their self-preservation abilities were extremely strong. After fighting for a while, Night Sorrow saw that the Profound Mysteries realm had recovered and was able to stabilize their footing. He let out a long howl and gave the order to retreat. Just as Night Sorrow was about to retreat, he realized that Xue Wuling was surrounded. She could not use her speed. A few invincible sovereigns surrounded her. She could not even protect herself, let alone retreat. Moreover, she was already injured. Night Sorrow directly slashed at Xue Wuling's opponent with a spatial rend. Then he ignored Jun Xuanji's attack and rushed toward Xue Wuling. He could not let Xue Wuling die. After several battles, Night Sorrow and Xue Wuling hit it off very well. Jun Xuanji's long sword broke through Night Sorrow's protective barrier and left a bloody wound on Night Sorrow's back. Night Sorrow reached Xue Wuling's side. He waved his reincarnation spear and repelled the attacks of 2 invincible sovereigns. This allowed Night Sorrow's back to be broken through by 2 invincible sovereigns. They slashed his shoulder and lower back twice. Let's go. Night Sorrow grabbed Xue Wuling and entered the spatial rend. Before entering the spatial rend, Night Sorrow's waist was slashed by Jun Xuanji again. Night Sorrow traveled through the spatial rend to the edge of the Nine Regions defensive array. He tore open the spatial rend again and walked out. Even if you don't die, you'll suffer, Jun Xuanji said to Night Sorrow while holding his long sword. That's nothing. We killed many of your people. Night Sorrow let go of Xue Wuling and handed her over to the granduncle for treatment. Haha, as long as we can injure you, the Nine Regions commander, Jun Xuanji said to Night Sorrow. I was thinking too much. Help me wipe it off. Yi Shan directly took off his outer robe and upper garment. He threw his robe that had been cut into strips at his back to Lu Qin, who was walking over. At this moment, everyone saw that the wound on Night Sorrow's back had already formed a scab. After Lu Qin helped him wipe it, Night Sorrow took out a set of battle robes and put them on. If you have time, prepare more battle robes for me. Every time I change into battle robes, some of their people will die. Jun Xuanji's expression turned ugly. He originally thought that the Profound Mysteries realm would have profited by injuring Night Sorrow, even if some of their people died. However, it turned out that his thoughts were very naive. You can rest now. But be careful. I'll be back at any moment. Let's go back and prepare a feast. Night Sorrow placed his reincarnation spear into the holster on his back. He then led his people back to the camp at the spatial rend. Commander, Xue Wuling owes you a life. If you need anything, just let me know, Xue Wuling, who had calmed down, said. Senior Shui, what are you saying? We're all fighting for the 9 regions. I've already said that the lives of the 9 regions people are precious in my eyes. I won't abandon anyone, Night Sorrow said as he shook his head. Shui Wuling nodded. She knew that this was Night Sorrow. He was ruthless to his enemies but kind to his own people. He was willing to sacrifice himself to save them. After that, the 9 regions people held a celebratory feast. Night Sorrow, his parents, and Wu Lingfei sat together. You little bastard, why did you ignore what I told you? Yu Qing looked at Night Sorrow and said, Mother, my body is strong. Normal attacks won't hurt me. I don't want the people of the 9 regions to die. We're all children and parents. I don't want the other children to be like me, unable to see their parents from a young age, unable to live by their parents' side, unable to enjoy their happiness, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Son, it's Mother's fault for scolding you. Hearing Yi Shang's words, Yu Qing turned her head away. Her tears fell. She knew that not being able to live with his parents was a pain in Yi Shang's heart. That was why he was so persistent. Many people fell silent after hearing Night Sorrow's words. They rejoiced that they had a commander like Night Sorrow. No one from the 9 regions world had died yet. If it were someone else, even if they had the upper hand in the war, corpses would be strewn all over the place. Who knew how many families would have been destroyed? Night Sorrow, Auntie Fei toasts you. Wu Lingfei stood up and raised her wine bowl to Night Sorrow. She knew that Night Sorrow had truly matured. When he needed to be domineering, he was domineering. When he needed to be benevolent, he was benevolent. After this battle, Night Sorrow's prestige would be unmatched in the 9 regions world. No one would be able to surpass him. Following Wu Lingfei's words, the 9 regions world's people all stood up and raised their wine bowls to Night Sorrow. Even the saints were no exception. Next, we'll consider the problem of war. After this sneak attack, I've realized that the difference in power between us isn't that great. But brute force isn't the way to go. Let's see if we can win this war without paying any price, or with the smallest price, said Night Sorrow after drinking a bowl of wine. In the past, the mode of attack and defense was a battle of attrition. But this time it seems different. If we continue fighting like this, we might be able to conquer them, said Xiaolanjun. Chapter 854. If they want to seal this place, it means they don't want us to fight our way in. Then we'll just fight our way in. We'll fight until they're convinced, said Night Sorrow. Then tell me what you think. Long Xianxing nodded at Night Sorrow. Normally speaking, we should be defending this war. Now that we've defended the spatial channel, we've won the war. However, I don't plan to do that. If we stop now, the Profound Mysteries realm will have to fight again after many years of stability. At that time, who knows how many people will be affected by the flames of war. So, I plan to settle this once and for all. As for how many people I've killed, I, Night Sorrow, will bear the consequences, said Night Sorrow. To the Profound Mysteries realm, you've sinned deeply. But to the people of the 9 regions world, you've done a great deed, said Xiaolanjun. Everlasting Saint, you're gravely mistaken. Night Sorrow has done a great deed to the people of the 9 regions world. Even to the Profound Mysteries realm, he's done a great deed. If we stop now, we'll be doing a great deed. But if we completely resolve the war between the Profound Mysteries realm and the 9 regions world, wouldn't that be a great deed to the people of the Profound Mysteries realm as well? Said Long Xianxing. That's right. If we settle this with one battle, then the people of the Profound Mysteries realm won't be harmed by the flames of war in the future. Sky Underworld Saint nodded. Whether it's a great deed or a great deed isn't important. Since we were born in this era, we should shoulder what we have to shoulder. Now I'll talk about the battle plan. They want to fight at the entrance of the spatial channel, but we won't. We'll fight at their core. Tomorrow the unrivaled sovereigns will fight with me. The high-level sovereigns and formation grandmasters will guard this place. We can't afford to lose this place, said Night Sorrow. After that, Yi Shang left the banquet and returned to his tent to meditate and cultivate. This is the era of Night Sorrow, the era of the 9 zones world. Anyone who can't live with the 9 zones world is asking for trouble, Underworld Saint said. Long Xianxing didn't say anything. He was a little worried in his heart. He was worried that the Profound Mysteries realm would resort to unscrupulous means and use the lives of saints to fight against Night Sorrow. Moreover, they had no way to protect him. The area around the spatial passageway was occupied by the 9 regions world, and they could move about freely. However, the other areas of the Profound Mysteries realm couldn't. That would be considered an invasion and interference in the war. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow began to gather his men. Father, I'll have to trouble you to guard this place. Mother cultivates the earth element and is good at defense, so she'll stay here as well. The other invincible paragons will enter the space-time pagoda. Night Sorrow extended his left hand, and the space-time pagoda enlarged. Cool Exa starter then, more than 10 invincible venerables entered the pagoda of time and space one after another. God-slaying squad enter. Night Sorrow shouted to the members of the God-slaying squad. Night Sorrow, be careful, said Wu Lingfei looking at Night Sorrow. Wu Lingfei said as she looked at Yi Shang. She wasn't worried about a saint attacking because she knew that Xuexi was in Yi Shang's pagoda of time and space. If a saint attacked and Yi Shang couldn't handle it, Xuexi would be able to stop him. Xuexi was a special case because she had been in the space-time pagoda when the saint contract had been signed. It could be said that her presence in the space-time pagoda was recognized by the laws of both worlds. Thus, it was fine for her to follow Night Sorrow. Yi Shuang bowed to his parents and then walked into the array. He found a place where the spatial shackles were relatively weak and then used spatial ren to travel through the turbulent flow of space. The chaotic flow of space was different from the chaotic flow of space in the realm C. It wasn't as strong, and Night Sorrow had the law of nothingness protecting him. Adding on the spatial barrier, he didn't expend much energy and was able to travel quickly. Soon, Night Sorrow passed through Jun Xuanji's blockade and traveled another 300 or 400 miles before tearing through space and flying toward the Profound Mysteries realm. Night Sorrow was a small target, and the Three Sun Mountain Range's weakened defenses couldn't stop him. After entering the Three Sun City, Yi Shang swaggered down the streets. The teleportation array was heavily guarded, but no one checked Yi Shang's image as a rich young master. Those who knew Yi Shang were the upper echelons of the Profound Mysteries realm. How could the guards of the teleportation array know him? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow teleported back to Profound Mysteries Imperial City. The Profound Mysteries Imperial City was currently being rebuilt. It was the #1 city in the Profound Mysteries realm, so the Profound Mysteries realm naturally couldn't give it up. Night Sorrow exited the teleportation formation and killed the guards with a wave of his reincarnation spear. Next, he transferred everyone out of the space-time pagoda and removed the teleportation crystals from the teleportation formation. Last time we destroyed the west side. We didn't destroy the east side. Now we'll focus on the east side and kill all cultivators above rank 3. If there are any resources, we'll take them. Now we'll split into 4 groups and return here in 1 hour, Yi Shan ordered. Next, Night Sorrow led Yun Tianlong, Taishu, and a portion of the God-slaying squad to the City Lord's mansion for a second round of cleansing. There were no experts in Profound Mysteries Imperial City right now, so how could it withstand the attacks of the 9 regions elites? Profound Mysteries Imperial City was once again ignited by the flames of war. Some shops and branches of major forces were being wiped out. Night Sorrow, Taishu, and the others easily killed the City Lord's mansion's men and looted the resources before returning to the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow and the others waited for a while before the other 3 groups returned. Are there any injuries? If there are, enter my space-time pagoda to heal. Night Sorrow asked the leaders of the groups. After learning that there were no injuries and that they didn't consume too much energy, Night Sorrow took out a teleportation crystal from his waist and inserted it into the teleportation formation. Forget it. Teleport to wherever we go and kill. Worried that there would be danger, Night Sorrow sent everyone into the space-time pagoda and started the teleportation. After arriving at the new city, Night Sorrow took over the teleportation formation and removed the teleportation crystals. Then he ordered everyone to split into several groups and fight. Night Sorrow led people to destroy the City Lord's mansion and loot the resources. Taishu and Lu Qin directly stored them in the storage. Night Sorrow followed this strategy to destroy 3 cities. After destroying 3 cities, Jun Xuanji and the others received news that when Profound Mysteries Imperial City was destroyed, someone flew to the mysterious Heaven Sword sect and teleported to 3 Sun City to report. Jun Xuanji smashed the tea table in the tent with a palm. Shang Luo sighed. He can tear space and travel through it. All of our seals are useless. Jun Xuanji said, right now we can't defend. We can only attack to stop the attack. We can only pull the battlefront back to the 9 regions world. Otherwise we won't be able to fight this war. Then everyone in the tent fell into contemplation. Xian Wenxiu said, now we can either use all our strength to break the formation or use all our strength to stop them. However, the possibility of stopping them is very low. The final outcome of the discussion was to attack the spatial passageway again. Chapter 855. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing led their people to guard the formation. When they saw the enemy coming to break the formation, the couple led their people to kill the enemy. Yi Wuyo didn't let them come out of the formation. They hid inside the formation and attacked the Profound Mysteries Realm's formation masters. After arranging the others, Yi Wuyo began to kill the enemy with Yu Qing's help. One of them was skilled in the Earth Spatial Bind, while the other was skilled in the Spatial Slaughter technique. Any formation master targeted by Yu Qing would be instantly killed by Yi Wuyo. The other paragons couldn't protect them even if they wanted to. Formation masters didn't have very high cultivation bases. After all, they spent most of their energy on studying formations. Their cultivation base increased slowly. There were many paragons in the Profound Mysteries realm, but they didn't dare to enter the formation to fight. They also couldn't break the formation from outside. This was the power of entropic formation masters. After attacking for more than an hour without any effect, someone came to report that 2 more cities in the Profound Mysteries realm had been captured. Jun Xuanji waved his hand helplessly. Grand Elder, we can't continue like this. We have to think of other methods. Xian Wenxiu nodded. He instantly aged a lot. He knew that they had lost this war. No blockade or defense was effective against Night Sorrow. It could be said that they had lost this war in the hands of Night Sorrow alone. After destroying the 4 cities, Night Sorrow put everyone into the Spacetime Pagoda and then teleported. However, there was no battle. He then teleported to another city and took down a courtyard outside the city. Only then did he let everyone out to rest. Night Sorrow, if this continues, the battle won't last long, the Grand Elder said as he brewed tea. What do you mean? Night Sorrow asked. 4 cities are destroyed in a day. How many cities do they have? It won't be long before they negotiate, Lu Qin said before the Grand Elder could speak. If they want to negotiate, then let them. I haven't killed enough, Yin Tianlong said. They were the ones who started the war. We can't just start a war because they want to. I have to fight until the Profound Mysteries realm is no longer a threat to the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow said. The Grand Elder and the others nodded. Now that Night Sorrow had spoken, they didn't need to discuss it. They would just follow his orders. After resting for a day, Night Sorrow led everyone to continue their slaughter, and they took down another 4 cities. Every time before a city was destroyed, Night Sorrow would first enter the city to scout before attacking. Therefore Jun Xuanji and the others couldn't stop them. Even if they managed to block them, it would be a tough battle, and they wouldn't be able to do much to the 9 Zones forces. Night Sorrow had brought the strongest group of people below the saint level in the 9 Zones world, and they were the toughest fist of the 9 Zones world. 3 days later, the Profound Mysteries realm couldn't hold on any longer. All the higher-ups gathered to discuss whether or not they should negotiate with the 9 Zones world. If this continued, the Profound Mysteries realm would be completely destroyed. All the mid-level cultivators would be slaughtered, and their cities would be destroyed. The Profound Mysteries realm civilization would plummet. Let's negotiate. If we can't keep Night Sorrow in check, we won't be able to win the war. Even if a saint attacks, they won't be able to succeed before the heavenly tribulation descends. His body's cultivation is too powerful, said Xian Wenxiu. The price of negotiating will be very high. They have the advantage, and if we can't satisfy them, the war won't stop, said Jun Xuanji. But there's nothing we can do about that. If we can't enter the spatial channel, the flames of war will continue to linger in the Profound Mysteries realm. We can only lose this war, said Shang Luo. Then I'll go talk to them. Jun Xuanji didn't want to negotiate. After all, this was a devastating blow to his reputation and the Jun family. Jun Xuanji teleported to the entrance of the spatial channel and directly requested to see Night Sorrow. Let's not beat around the bush. You clearly know that Night Sorrow isn't here, said Yi Wuyo as he walked out of the formation. I know. I'm representing the Profound Mysteries realm to negotiate with him. We should at least see him, said Jun Xuanji. Peace talks? You've lost, so you don't have the qualifications to talk about peace talks. Wait until you know your place. Yi Wuyo glanced at Jun Xuanji before directly entering the formation, ignoring him. Right now, the 9 regions world had the absolute advantage and they had the absolute initiative. Jun Xuanji stood in front of the formation looking at the spatial channel. He was filled with resentment because the Profound Mysteries realm had a chance to gain the upper hand. It was just that some people had failed to live up to expectations and had been hindered by the 9 Zones world in the 3 Origin region. As a result, they had been forced into a passive position. We'll do as you say. Our Profound Mysteries realm has lost. What conditions do you want before you can stop attacking and retreat? Jun Xuanji shouted into the formation. Then you can wait, replied Yi Wuyo. Yi Wuyo returned to the sage tent and reported to Long Xianxing and the others. We can't let Night Sorrow return for now. If they set up an ambush on his way back, it'll be troublesome. They've lost, so they want us to make demands. We can make our demands first. The Profound Mysteries realm has to submit to the Nine Zones world. We can't be disloyal to the Nine Zones world, said Long Xianxing. Then I'll go talk to him, said Yi Wuyo. Our sages can come out to negotiate. That won't count as interfering in the war. Have them wait in front of the formation, said Long Xianxing. Then Yi Wuyo expressed the Nine Zones world's intentions. Jun Xuanji nodded and called over the Profound Mysteries realm's sages. The two sides faced each other outside the formation and began negotiating. Submit? That's impossible. If you want compensation, our Profound Mysteries realm can pay it. Even if we have to pay a huge price, we'll accept it, said Xian Wenxiu. Do you understand that you've lost? With the Sage contract, the Profound Mysteries realm isn't a match for anyone below the Saint realm. Even if you ignore the Sage contract and attack, can you kill Night Sorrow before the laws kill you? Said Long Xianxing. You might have one, but you can't go so far as to submit, said Shang Luo. Why did you attack the Nine Zones world? Isn't it to conquer the Nine Zones world? You might not be able to do it, but we can, said Tianming Sheng. Chapter 4, Part 57. You don't force us to choose death over dishonor. A saint stepped forward and said, then you can die in glory. We just want to deal with the problem of two zones in one go. If you don't submit, then we'll destroy you. Let's go. Long Xianxing glanced at the Profound Mysteries realm's people before returning to the formation. Xuanji, try and see if you can stop their attacks, said Xian Wenxiu to Jun Xuanji. He didn't have any other ideas. Jun Xuanji nodded and left. Right now she was hoping to stop Night Sorrow and the others. If Night Sorrow and the others didn't run, then she could fight to the death. But the chances of that happening were slim. Chapter 856. Following that, 3 more days of city-destroying battles passed. That's not right. According to this situation, the Profound Mysteries realm shouldn't be stubbornly holding on. They should be negotiating, Lu Qin said during another break. We don't care about that. We'll just kill them. If something really happens, the spatial passageway will notify us and we'll crush our messaging crystals, said the Grand Elder. It's still not painful. They'll naturally submit after the pain, said Yun Tianlong. Night Sorrow nodded. Everyone knew that. If they wanted the Profound Mysteries realm to submit, they had to beat them until they couldn't bear it. After everyone rested, Night Sorrow continued the city-destroying battles. It wasn't just the cities that were destroyed. Some sects and clans' territories were also attacked. The Profound Mysteries realm held on for 4 days. More than 10 cities were destroyed and several sects were destroyed. Jun Xuanji's people didn't even see Night Sorrow's shadow. Accept the conditions. We have to accept any conditions, Xian Wenxiu sighed in the newly renovated City Lord's mansion. Grand Elder, if we accept the surrender, our Profound Mysteries realm will become a subsidiary, said Jun Xuanji. After the sage contract is signed, all of us sages will become decorations. You half-sages and invincible sovereigns won't be able to withstand their attacks, said Xian Wenxiu. Our half-sages and invincible sovereigns haven't lost yet. We haven't lost this war, said Jun Xuanji, somewhat unconvinced. If we haven't lost, they'll destroy the foundation of our Profound Mysteries realm first. They'll slaughter all the cities and mid-level cultivators and take away all our resources. Does the Profound Mysteries realm still have a future? What about the low-level cultivators? What about the future? Also, they don't want to fight us head-on. Once they destroy our foundation, they'll naturally deal with you half-sages and invincible sovereigns. Don't hold on. You're weaker than them. You won't be able to withstand it, said Xian Wenxiu. Hearing Xian Wenxiu's words, the other saints and invincible venerables nodded. They all had families and sections. If this continued, the forces behind them would be destroyed and uprooted. Saint Shang, what do you think? Xian Wenxiu looked at Shang Luo. What's done is done. If we fight head-on, our Profound Mysteries realm will be the ones to suffer. In reality, we were the ones who lost the battle and surrendered. We wanted to fight, so we will naturally bear the consequences of surrendering. I will give the Profound Mysteries realm an explanation, said Shang Luo. I think so too. Then it's decided. Xuanji, as your senior, I have something to say to you, Xian Wenxiu said as he looked at Jun Xuanji. Grand Elder Xian, please speak. Xuanji will definitely do as you say. Jun Xuanji's eyes darkened. Because defeat and submission were already a foregone conclusion, her insistence was useless. Xian Wenxiu looked at Jun Xuanji and said, I know that you have ideals and ambitions in your heart. The failure of this war is not because of you. The revival of the Profound Pavilion will need you. The revival of the Jun family will need you, and the Profound Mysteries realm will need you. So, the hatred in your heart is meaningless. Grand Elder, are you telling me to endure this humiliation to survive? If the Profound Mysteries realm surrenders, then I can only commit suicide as an apology, said Jun Xuanji. It's easy to die foolishly, but it's hard to stay alive. If we don't have half-saints and invincible sovereigns to help us govern the Profound Mysteries realm, then there's no need to talk. They can just kill us to the end. Moreover, as a person you have to accept your fate and admit defeat. If you're not a match for others, then you have to face yourself. A loss is a loss. After surrendering, the future of the Profound Mysteries realm will still depend on us. Only if we're valuable will they value the Profound Mysteries realm, said Xian Wenxiu. Saint Xian is right. If we lose, they won't allow us to live. They'll definitely deal with the big threat. Both Saint Xian and I will accept this. The future of the Profound Mysteries realm will depend on you. It's hard for people to admit defeat, but a loss is a loss, said Shang Luo. We won't let you live, said Jun Xuanji as she stood up. Although she operated on the Tao of Might, she still respected Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo. You're the commander of the 9 realms. You'll let the other side's peak saints live. That should be the first condition of surrendering. In addition, you'll also need to swear a heavenly Tao oath to the half-saints and invincible sovereigns. If you can break through to the 8th stage in the future, you'll be able to ignore the restrictions of the origin laws of ordinary worlds. Remember, as long as you're alive, you'll have a chance to turn things around, said Xian Wenxiu. Grand Elder Xian, Saint Shang, is this the result of our war? Asked Jun Xuanji somewhat emotionally. If we don't fight, we won't have a place to retreat. When the great calamity comes once every 10,000 years, we saints will still die. This time we saints were selfish. We only started this war because we wanted a chance at survival. But now we've brought danger to the Profound Mysteries realm. We accept this, said Xian Wenxiu. Jun Xuanji sighed. She understood that things had already come to this and no one could change it. Even Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo had made up their minds to die. The others could only follow the path of surrendering. Remember, live to fight for a chance for the people of the Profound Mysteries realm, even if it's just a chance for them to live a better life. Let's go. Shang Luo stood up and walked towards the teleportation formation. As a saint who had cultivated for countless years, his mind was incomparably firm. After making his decision, he was already indifferent to life and death. When they arrived in front of the teleportation formation, Xian Wenxiu and the others once again requested to meet. You've made your decision? Asked Long Xianxing. Yes, we accept our defeat. We agree to your request. Let's stop fighting. Xian Wenxiu nodded. Then you won't ambush us, right? Asked Long Xianxing. We admit defeat. Even if we lose, we won't lose face. We won't do anything without a reason, said Xian Wenxiu. Long Xianxing nodded and had Yi Wuyo crush Night Sorrow's messaging crystal. Night Sorrow, who was about to continue massacring the city, was startled. He returned to the space-time treasure pagoda and reported that his messaging crystal had broken. It seems there's a result. They should have started negotiating, said the Grand Elder. I wonder what the result of the negotiation is, said Lu Qin. Q on ZNet on EP Festival, since they crushed my messaging crystal, there must be news. We have to return. If we're not satisfied with the result, then we'll continue killing. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. He knew that no matter what the situation was, he had to return. After leaving the space-time treasure pagoda, Night Sorrow directly entered the city and began to teleport. After 2 teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at Three Sun City. After passing through the Three Sun Mountain Ranges blockade, Night Sorrow flew towards the teleportation formation. He was still 200 kilometers away from the spatial passageway. To be safe, Night Sorrow used spatial rend and traveled through the spatial turbulence until he reached the edge of the array outside the spatial passageway. Chapter 857. He's the commander of the 9 regions. As for accepting your defeat, we still need to discuss it. Long Xianxing said. I understand. We'll wait here. Xian Wenxiu nodded. His expression had calmed down. Men, set up a tent for the people of the Profound Mysteries realm to rest. Long Xianxing ordered the high-level venerables behind him. Night Sorrow followed Long Xianxing and the others to the command tent at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow transferred everyone out of the pagoda of time and space. Long Xianxing said that the attitude of the Profound Mysteries realm was not to negotiate. They would accept any request from the Nine Regions world. First, we have to be bound by the heavenly Tao. We have to become a subordinate of the Nine Regions world. The rest is easier to discuss. Night Sorrow said. Haha, you're right. The saints and venerables have to swear an oath to not harm the Nine Regions world. They have to listen to the orders of the Nine Regions world. Long Xianxing said. That way we'll have an extra helping hand in the upcoming massacre, Yi Shan said after a moment's thought. I feel like I'm raising a tiger. Nan Xianxing said. With the heavenly Tao oath, there's nothing to be afraid of. Whether or not the Profound Mysteries realm can completely submit will depend on our governance. If we can't govern well and win the hearts of the people, we can only say that we're not capable. Night Sorrow smiled. Then you can just talk as you see fit. Xiaolan Jun said. Q is the only one. W is the only one. W is the only one. W is the only one. I'll talk as I see fit. Night Sorrow looked at the group of saints in surprise. Of course. You're the commander of the Nine Regions now. Naturally, you can make the decisions. We're just helping you fill in the gaps. The Nine Regions need to establish a commander's residence to face the dangers of the netherworld. Long Xianxing said. All right, I'll talk as I see fit. If there's anything wrong you can all add in. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. After leaving the formation, Night Sorrow saw a large tent. However, the people of the Profound Mysteries realm were waiting outside. Everyone please. Night Sorrow entered the tent first and sat down in the middle of the left side. Long Xianxing and the other saints sat beside Night Sorrow. Some of the Nine Regions sovereigns could only stand and listen. Xian Wenxiu and the others entered the large tent and stood in front of Night Sorrow and the others. They did not sit down because their positions were not equal. Have a seat. Let's talk about it when we're fighting. Let's sit down and talk about it calmly. It's best if we can settle things peacefully. Night Sorrow gestured for them to sit down. Xian Wenxiu cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and the others and sat down. At this time he couldn't help but admire Night Sorrow's magnanimity. If it was Jun Xuanji he definitely wouldn't have such magnanimity. This war was started by our Profound Mysteries realm. It's our fault. We're willing to bear all the consequences, Xian Wenxiu said. Sit down and talk. There's no need to find out who's right and who's wrong. The main thing is to solve the problem. Actually, by blocking the spatial channel, our Nine Regions world can actually end the war. However, I feel that it's best to solve the future of the two worlds in one go. In other words, I don't want to have another war, Night Sorrow said. I can understand. Xian Wenxiu nodded. I've never done anything that's morally wrong. If we stop the war halfway, then the slaughter I cause will be morally wrong. If we can solve the problem of the two worlds in one go, then that's morally right. Naturally, I hope to be morally right. Night Sorrow repeated Long Xuanxing's words. Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo nodded. First, let's talk about my attitude. First, I can't let the Profound Mysteries realm become a threat to the Nine Regions world. Absolutely not. Don't say that I'm selfish. After all, I'm from the Nine Regions world, said Night Sorrow. That's fine. As long as the Nine Regions world can stop the war, as long as the Nine Regions world treats the creatures of the Profound Mysteries realm well, our Profound Mysteries realm saints will settle things on their own. We won't be a threat, said Shang Luo. What's the point of settling things on their own? If you feel that you're in the wrong and that you've let down the creatures of the Profound Mysteries realm, then go and make up for it, said Night Sorrow. You're allowing our Profound Mysteries realm saints to live? Jun Xuanji directly stood up. Why not? I just said that as long as the Profound Mysteries realm doesn't become a threat to the Nine Regions world, some things can be resolved. Don't be so petty, Yi Shang said as he glanced at Jun Xuanji. Please continue, said Xian Wenxiu. Then let's talk about our Nine Regions world's request. In truth, this is also my idea. The Profound Mysteries realm's saints and sovereigns need to swear an oath to the heavenly Tao that they won't harm the Nine Regions world. When the Nine Regions world needs them, they'll fight for the Nine Regions world. Of course, there won't be a problem of cannon fodder. They'll fight side by side. That's my promise. When the Profound Mysteries realm is in danger, the Nine Regions world will also do its best to help, said Night Sorrow. That's not a problem, said Xian Wenxiu. To put it bluntly, I want to form an alliance. However, with the Nine Regions world as the main force, we'll also send people to govern the Profound Mysteries realm. Don't worry, we'll also implement a rule of virtue. We can keep the resources from this war to develop the Profound Mysteries realm, said Night Sorrow. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Xian Wenxiu and Shang Luo stood up and cupped their hands toward Night Sorrow. They hadn't expected Night Sorrow's attitude and conditions. They also hadn't expected Night Sorrow to be so magnanimous. I've already said what should be tolerated. However, the key points are the oath to the heavenly Tao and obeying orders. These 2 points can't be reduced in the slightest, said Night Sorrow. If we swear an oath to the heavenly Tao and obey orders, then we can't just be ordered around by someone from the Nine Regions world, said Jun Xuanji. Night Sorrow turned to look at Long Xianxing and the others. I've said all that should be said. Seniors, please make the final decision. As for how the Nine Regions command will be issued, that's up to you. You said it very well just now. If a person has a heart, he has virtue, and if he has virtue, he has a heart. Only then will the relationship between the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nine Regions world be stable. As for how the Profound Mysteries realm will issue the Nine Regions command, I won't hide it from you. It's a chaotic world right now, and the Nine Regions world might be facing a 10,000-year crisis. So, we've established a commander's residence, and the commander is Night Sorrow. For the Profound Mysteries realm, only the commander's residence's orders are effective, said Long Xianxing. The 10,000-year crisis is the same for our Profound Mysteries realm. This war is actually for us to find a place to settle down. Xian Wenxiu looked at Long Xianxing in surprise. Long Xianxing was also stunned. So the situation is about the same. I don't know if you understand my explanation. If you do, then we'll set up the commander's residence and stabilize the Profound Mysteries realm. Understood. Then let's start with the Heavenly Tao Oath. Xian Wenxiu was very surprised by the current situation, but he naturally could accept it. Chapter 858. Originally, Xian Wenxiu, Shang Luo, and the other saints had thought that the Nine Regions world wouldn't let them live because they were all peak cultivators and could be considered a potential threat. But now, the Nine Regions world didn't make things too difficult for them. It could be said that the conditions weren't too difficult to accept. Following this, all the saints and sovereigns of the Profound Mysteries realm swore a heavenly Tao oath to not betray or harm the Nine Regions world. Alright, let's arrange things. Night Sorrow, you're in charge, said Long Xianxing. There's no need for me to do that, said Night Sorrow with a smile. Of course there's a need. You can give the orders, said Xiaolanjun with a smile. Night Sorrow looked around and thought for a moment before nodding. City Lord Grand Uncle will be in charge of the Profound Mysteries realm. City Lord Lu Qin and Monarch Yun will work together. Jun Xuanji, you'll assist. The Grand Uncles, Lu Qin and Yun Tianlong cupped their hands. Jun Xuanji also bowed. The issue of resources is that the Nine Regions world has used up some resources in this war, but it's not a big problem. After we deal with the Western Nether region, we'll use the remaining resources to stabilize and recover the Profound Mysteries realm, said Night Sorrow. Understood. Grand Uncles nodded. There's one more thing. Many people in the Profound Mysteries realm might be hostile to the Nine Regions world. In order to avoid unnecessary wars and losses, all venerables who have reached the peak of the 5th stage must be recorded. If they don't obey, kill them on the spot. It's good for both sides to get rid of the small hidden dangers. Yishan gave another order. I'll go back and arrange that. Stability is necessary, said Xian Wenxiu. Other than that, there's also the matter of communication between the two sides. Currently, the trend is towards cooperation, so there's no need for both sides to reject each other. The forces of the Nine Regions world can develop in the Profound Mysteries realm, and the forces of the Profound Mysteries realm can also develop branches and sects in the Nine Regions world. This way their strength can recover and grow faster, Night Sorrow concluded after some thought. Everyone nodded. Night Sorrow's plan was very comprehensive. It could be said that his development strategy was correct. Then let's talk about the Nine Regions commander's manner. Actually, it should be the two commanders' manners. It's related to maintaining order, said Xiaolanjun. 2 hours later, the commander's manner was completed. And Night Sorrow. But Yi and Grand Uncles. Grand Uncles, but Yi had declined. He wanted to break. Was? Grand was. Grand Elder. Elder, and Grand Elder as. Grand. The S set. 2. T. S. It's meaningless. We can't really fight in the future, Xialanjun said. Grand Elder Xia, you're talking about me. Grand Sage Shen told me that people have to admit defeat. Since I've lost, I'll accept it. I won't have any hatred, Jun Xuanji said. That's for the best. Let's do that, Long Shenxing said. After telling Yi Chen that he had something to do, he informed Yi Chen. Then he led his men back to the city in the sky. Drinking tea, Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. The war is over. We can relax a bit. However, we still have to prepare for war. After the 9-domain world and profound mysteries realm stabilize, we'll take down the Supreme River Space and solve the problem of the Netherworld. Yes, that's a hidden danger. We have to solve it, Xialanjun, who followed Night Sorrow to Sky City, said. In the following days, Night Sorrow stayed in Sky City and cultivated steadily. However, the others in the 9-domain world and profound mysteries realm were extremely busy. The 9-domain commander's manor was set up in the Grand Clarity domain. The current Qingtian domain was not as strong as before. The Grand Clarity domain was currently the strongest domain. Of course, the Eastern Shen domain was also very strong, but its location was not convenient. Night Sorrow did not care about anything, but the other 2 vice commanders and elders were extremely busy. They constantly gave out orders. No one said that Night Sorrow had nothing to do. This was because these problems of construction and stability were small matters. When it came to big matters, Night Sorrow could handle it. Every day, apart from cultivating, Night Sorrow would go to the God-slaying squad's base to guide them in their cultivation. He would also give pointers to Yin Yanxiao. Tianyu and Yi Mei's cultivation increased rapidly, showing their extraordinary talent. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome was not far from the peak of the 7th tier. The spiritual strength in his spirit sea was also growing more and more condensed. He was also very close to condensing a divine bead. The God-slaying squad now had a few more venerables. Under the pressure of Gao Chang and the other 2 venerables, Ma Zhuang and the others had also smoothly reached the 5th rank. In other words, the God-slaying squad no longer had any members below the 5th rank. On this day, Night Sorrow was drinking tea with Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Xueshi when Xialanjun and Sky Underworld Sage came. This is your medallion. Xialanjun handed Night Sorrow a medallion made of violet gold crystal. What medallion is this? Night Sorrow took it and looked at it. The Commander's Medallion of the Commanding and Executing Realms. It's one of a kind, said Sky Underworld Sage with a smile. He had come to see how Guan Yi and Qingzhen were cultivating, as well as to see how Night Sorrow was doing. All right, I'll take it. Night Sorrow put the medallion into his spatial ring. Xialanjun then told Night Sorrow that the Commander's Mansion had officially begun operations. They had also established the Commander's Iron Guard, which was made up of the various regions' elites. Is the Profound Mysteries realm doing well? Is there any resistance or rebellion? Asked Night Sorrow as he poured tea for Xialanjun and Sky Underworld Sage. Uj Kulzf, no. Some of the 9 regions' powers are developing in the Profound Mysteries realm, and they've given many people a chance. They can only be grateful, said Xialanjun. We're encouraging the various large powers to enter the Profound Mysteries realm. Assimilation of spiritual civilization is the most basic method of governance. Let our Night Moon dynasty go as well, said Night Sorrow. We've already arranged for that. We've already set up a few branches, said Yu Qing with a smile. No one told me, Yi Shan said with a smile. If it's a small matter, no one will tell you. It's not like there's anything big right now, said Aoi. I have to say that Jun Xuanji really is a genius. He's very good at governing and managing. If it weren't for the fact that some people from the Profound Mysteries realm wanted to conquer the Western Nether region, we wouldn't have been able to fight this war, said Xialanjun. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that Jun Xuanji was undoubtedly talented to be able to lead the Profound Mysteries realm. After sending off Xialanjun and the others, Night Sorrow took out the 1000 derivation killing formation and 1000 derivation illusory formations formation diagrams and began studying them. He planned on going to the Heaven Sealing Palace to take a look when he had time. Chapter 859. The 1000 derivation killing formation and the 1000 derivation illusory formation were the achievements of the Clear Sky Saint King after studying the formations of his predecessors. Together with his own knowledge, they were very powerful and complicated. Yi Shan had already studied them for some time, but he could only understand a little. After resting for a few days, Night Sorrow left Sky City and teleported to the Western Nether region. The Western Nether region had been attacked by the Flames of War, but because they had retreated early, there was no battlefield here, so the losses were not serious. They had already recovered with the full support of the 9 regions. Next, Night Sorrow teleported to the Spatial Channel. There were 2 palaces at the Spatial Channel, and they were filled with patrol members. When they saw Night Sorrow they all bowed. Nodding, Night Sorrow passed through the Spatial Channel. Chapter O, Section R, FDCF. It was the same for the Profound Mysteries realm. There were also 2 palaces at the Spatial Channel, and the guards were led by Tianji Tower's Yao Yang. Greetings, young master. Yao Yang cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow. Senior is too courteous. I'll have to trouble you here, Night Sorrow returned Yao Yang's greeting. Next, Night Sorrow teleported to 3 Sun City, and then to a few other cities to take a look before teleporting to the Profound Level Imperial City. The guards of the Profound Mysteries Imperial City's teleportation formation surprised Night Sorrow. They were Night Moon's people, and the leader was Wind King Yi Lingfeng. When Night Moon's people saw Night Sorrow, they all bowed. It's a special time, so everyone has to work hard. Nodding, Night Sorrow walked on the streets of Profound Mysteries Imperial City, looking at the reconstruction situation. Yi Lingfeng followed behind Night Sorrow. At this time, the reconstruction of Profound Mysteries Imperial City had already reached a certain scale. Night Sorrow knew that without any interference, the construction of a city would be very fast. It's really rare to see you here, Commander. Lu Qin and Jun Xuanji, who were patrolling the streets, saw Night Sorrow. I'm just taking a casual stroll. This place is too chaotic, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, who was wearing a simple white robe, walked on the street. When others saw him, they would think that he was the son of a rich family. No one would associate Night Sorrow with the commander of 2 worlds. Now you know how troublesome it is. If you had been gentler back then, the reconstruction wouldn't have been so troublesome, Jun Xuanji said as he looked at Night Sorrow. What did you say? Be polite to our young master. Yi Lingfeng, who was standing behind Night Sorrow, stepped forward. It's nothing. Uncle Lingfeng, you don't have to mind this. Night Sorrow extended his hand to stop Yi Lingfeng. Elder Jun, I respect you. In fact, I respect everyone in the Profound Mysteries realm. But our young master isn't just the pride of the 9 regions world. He's also Night Moon's faith. We can't tolerate others mocking him, said Yi Lingfeng. Jun Xuanji looked apologetically at Night Sorrow. After interacting with the people of the 9 regions world, he knew that there were some bottom lines that couldn't be touched. In front of the people of Night Moon, Night Sorrow was his reverse scale. It's nothing. Uncle Lingfeng, you can go ahead. I'll go take a look at the City Lord's mansion. Night Sorrow nodded to Yi Lingfeng. Yi Lingfeng cupped his hands at Night Sorrow and left to continue guarding the teleportation formation. Then Jun Xuanji and Lu Qin led Night Sorrow to the City Lord's mansion. Inside the City Lord's mansion, Xian Wenxiu and granduncles were talking about the situation in the Profound Mysteries realm. Seeing that Night Sorrow had arrived, granduncles and Xian Wenxiu cupped their hands at Night Sorrow. Saint Xian is too courteous. Martial uncle, granduncles, you've worked hard. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and sat down. Why did you want to come take a look? Asked granduncles as he brewed tea. I've been cultivating for a while, so I came out to relax. I also wanted to see martial uncle, granduncles, said Night Sorrow. Don't worry about this. Saint Xian and Saint Shang are very supportive. Elder Jun is also very capable. There won't be any problems with rebuilding the Profound Mysteries realm, said granduncles. I was just casually walking around. I found that the war has greatly damaged the Profound Mysteries realm. The 9 regions world's major powers want to recruit disciples. They should lower their bottom line and give some people more opportunities, said Night Sorrow. Okay, I'll notify them later. Granduncles took out a pen and wrote it down. The war has caused some people to lose their homes. This is my fault. Here are some spirit stones. Martial uncle, granduncles, take them and see how you can help them. Night Sorrow took out a spatial ring and handed it to granduncles. Commander, there won't be any problems with rebuilding the Profound Mysteries realm. You don't need to provide these resources, said granduncles. How about this? Let's build a cultivator palace and take in some children from the 9 regions world and the Profound Mysteries realm who lack people to take care of them. Night Sorrow placed the spatial ring on the table. That's a good decision. I'll make arrangements for this. Lu Qin nodded. Night Sorrow nodded. Following this, he walked around the various cities with Lu Qin and Jun Xuanji. My heart hurts. I hope there won't be any more wars in the future. I'm going back. Night Sorrow was very emotional. Xuanji, I don't want anyone to hate Night Sorrow, Lu Qin said to Jun Xuanji after watching Night Sorrow leave. Jun Xuanji nodded. He knew what could be done and what could not be done. They could not do anything to harm Night Sorrow. Otherwise, the people of the 9 regions world would not accept it and would retaliate. At that time, who knew who would be the unlucky one? Night Sorrow walked around the profound mysteries realm before returning to the 9 regions world. When he arrived at the Qingtian region, Night Sorrow did not go to the Tianji Tower. Instead, he went directly to Vast Sea City. When he arrived at the border of the Realm Sea, he took Xuexi out of the Pagoda of Time. Following this, they took a flying ship and flew towards the island in the Realm Sea. It seems that the 9 regions world is stable this time. Now that we've started the war with the Nether world, we've gained some strength, Xuexi said. I have to quickly become a saint. This is very important. I have to refine the Void Fate Pearl as soon as possible. At that time, I'll be able to fuse the Void Fiendish Space with the Void Fate Pearl. I'll be able to bring the Void Fiendish Space to the shattered region of the 9 regions world and completely suppress it. I'll be able to fuse the Void Fiendish Space with the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow said. You can't rush this. However, condensing your soul power into a core is a necessary step to become a saint, Xuexi said. Night Sorrow knew that condensing a God Pearl was not too far away. His soul power had already reached the limit of liquid state and could condense a God Pearl at any time. After arriving at the island in the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow found that the spatial storms had weakened a lot. After putting Xuexi into the Pagoda of Time, Night Sorrow headed towards Vast Sky City. The current Night Sorrow's strength was vastly different from when he had been a 4th-level Venerate. It took him more than an hour to reach Clear Sky City after only resting once. Looking at the dilapidated Vast Sky City, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. He had just experienced a war and the 9 regions world had won. Vast Sky City's dilapidated state told him of the humiliation of defeat. Night Sorrow flew for a while and found that it was different from before. There was a defensive formation between the spatial storms and the 9 regions origin shield. Looking at it, Night Sorrow found that the formations were the 1000 derivation illusory formation and the 1000 derivation killing formation. Chapter 860. The UD network is free of charge for 4 years. It was brimming with vitality. Yishang felt as if the 9-realm origin source barrier was full of vitality. Night Sorrow passed through the 9 regions essence barrier and headed for the Heaven Sealing Palace. Night Sorrow had just arrived in front of the Heaven Sealing Palace when the 9 regions essence energy appeared. You're here. Night Sorrow nodded at the 9 regions essence energy. The 9 regions essence energy just went through a war with the profound mysteries realm. After the war ended, I came to take a look. I know you've won because I've also gained some benefits. I've also received some blessings from the Heavenly Tao. Now that I see you, I know that you've contributed greatly in this battle. The 9 realms origin energy communicated with Night Sorrow. You can even know that? Night Sorrow was a bit puzzled. Your karmic energy is very deep. You already have 3 feet of karmic light. It should be said that you played a huge role in this war, said the 9 regions essence energy. Night Sorrow was also very puzzled. He didn't feel that way himself. Your soul avatar should be able to reach greater mastery in a bit more time. At that time you don't need to come over. You can talk to the main body if you need anything, said the 9 regions essence energy. I came to see if this place is safe. The 9 regions essence barrier can't have any problems, said Night Sorrow. There are some problems. There are spatial soul-devouring beasts below Clear Sky City. If they get close, they will devour the 9 regions essence energy. That's one of their trump cards against our 9 regions world, said the 9 regions essence energy to Night Sorrow. Then what do you need me to do? Asked Night Sorrow. Set up a formation. Go to the bottom of Clear Sky City and set up a formation to prevent the spatial soul-devouring beasts from attacking Clear Sky City, said the 9 regions essence energy to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. I'll go as soon as I can. After conversing with the 9 regions essence energy for a while, Night Sorrow left Clear Sky City and flew toward the island in the Realm Sea. After arriving at the island in the Realm Sea, Night Sorrow continued flying towards Vast Sea City. After arriving at the Grand Clarity Domain, Night Sorrow went directly to the most majestic palace in the Grand Clarity Domain. That was the most respected place in the 9-domain world, the commander's residence. Upon seeing Night Sorrow's arrival, the guards in front of the hall bowed in greeting. They had all participated in the battle against the Profound Mysteries realm, so they recognized Night Sorrow. When they reached the main hall, Yishang saw Yun Tianlong, who was overseeing this place. "Commander, it's rare for you to come." Yun Tianlong greeted him with a smile. In terms of seniority, Yun Tianlong was the elder. However, in terms of strength, there was a big gap between him and Night Sorrow. In terms of status and reputation, the gap was even bigger. There are indeed some matters. Send someone to inform the commander's residents to gather here tomorrow. "I have something to say," said Night Sorrow. Yun Tianlong nodded. He knew that something was about to happen. After giving some instructions, Night Sorrow left the commander's residence and returned to Sky City. After cultivating for a day, Night Sorrow returned to the commander's residence. Everyone there was gathered. It could be said that the upper echelons of the nine-domain world and the Profound Mysteries realm were all present. Night Sorrow walked to the empty main seat and sat down. "Today I've called everyone here because I have a decision. I've decided to conquer the Supreme River Domain. This is related to the stability and future of the nine-domain world." Night Sorrow then explained the reason. "Spatial soul-devouring beast? So that's what it's used for. Do you have a plan?" asked Yelanju. "This time we have no choice but to fight. The plan is for us to enter through the spatial channel in the Eastern Profound Domain. There's spatial suppression there, so don't worry." "I'll handle it," said Night Sorrow. "Then you can arrange the deployment," said Long Xianxing. "The reconstruction of the Profound Mysteries realm and the Western Nether region can't be stopped. Every time we fight, it's to ensure that our family and compatriots can live stable lives. That's the foundation. Also, gather more people. In 7 days I want to see a group that can fight in Eastern Profound City." "I want elites," said Night Sorrow. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, all the members of the commander's residence stood up and cupped their fists. After giving the order, Night Sorrow left the commander's residence and returned to Sky City. Since he had given the order, there would naturally be people to carry it out. After returning to the lake, Night Sorrow began to cultivate a spatial crack. After a while, Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing arrived. "Father, congratulations." Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Yi Wuyo. At this time, Yi Wuyo was already a saint. "Haha, it's nothing. I was already a quasi-sage a while ago. I just made a breakthrough in my true chi cultivation. It wasn't difficult. But you, on the other hand, saints and sovereigns are two completely different realms," said Yi Wuyo. "It won't be too long." "There's no need to rush," said Night Sorrow with a smile. "All right, I don't have to worry about you here. Is it good to drink?" said Yi Wuyo after looking at Yu Qing. "Naturally." Yu Qing nodded. Night Sorrow and his parents drank and chatted. They talked about the upcoming battle. "Son, you're going to rise in the war. After the battle with the Profound Mysteries realm, you already have a meter of light of virtue behind your head," said Yi Wuyo. Night Sorrow scratched the back of his head. "Father, the 9 regions origin energy also said that I have a light of virtue. Why can't I sense it?" "If you don't have a special feeling, you won't be able to sense it. But it really does exist. According to the ancient records, people with great virtue have their words enforced. If they say that the river flows in reverse, it will flow in reverse," explained Yi Wuyo to Night Sorrow. "Enforced with words? That's amazing." Night Sorrow was a bit surprised. "Of course it's amazing. That's called the great sage of virtue. Even if he's a weak scholar, even if he doesn't have any cultivation, as long as he has virtue and the principles of the heavenly Tao, he can enforce his words. But this kind of virtue is very difficult to obtain. You have to contribute to the world and benefit an entire race," said Yi Wuyo. After drinking a jar of wine with his parents, Night Sorrow continued cultivating. He was working very hard and his true energy was slowly rising. The myriad Tao Tome had also reached the peak of the 7th tier of the spirit refinement realm. Night Sorrow calculated the time and entered the 70th floor of the pagoda. He wanted to reach the 8th tier of the spirit refinement realm before he entered the supreme river space. 2 days in the pagoda was 1 day in the outside world. Night Sorrow raised the myriad Tao Tome's cultivation base to the 8th tier of the spirit refinement realm. Then he used it to strengthen his body. Only then did he reach the 60th floor of the pagoda. Your blood energy is circulating around your body, and your essence energy is soaring. Night Sorrow, I can't describe your body. It should be in a state where no evil can invade you. Xueshi was shocked to see Night Sorrow. Is it that obvious? Asked Night Sorrow. I don't know why, but after returning from the Profound Mysteries realm, I felt a pressure coming from you. Now that your blood energy has stimulated it, It's even stronger, said Xueshi. Chapter 861. G title equals, this chapter is what's the point of this? Honor all the readers. What's the point of this? Okay, I'll listen to your arrangements. Xueshi nodded. Knight Sorrow nodded and brought Xueshi out of the Spacetime Pagoda. After exiting the Spacetime Pagoda and getting onto the wooden boat, Xueshi went to make tea. Knight Sorrow stretched his body. As he moved his body, explosive sounds came from his body. It wasn't just the sound of bones and joints, but also the sound of blood flowing. It was like pearls falling onto a plate. After drinking a cup of tea, Knight Sorrow walked around the martial arts practice field. As Knight Sorrow clapped his hands, the members of the god-slaying team gathered. However, no one spoke. They didn't dare to speak because Knight Sorrow stood there like a mountain. Everyone is doing well. Liue, how are the resources? Knight Sorrow looked at Nan Liue and asked. There are no problems. Nan Liue stood up and bowed. This is my friend Xueshi, a 6-star saint. She will guide everyone's cultivation in the future. She is definitely someone you can trust. Also, get ready to fight in 3 days. Knight Sorrow left the martial arts practice field after giving his instructions. What's going on? Why do I feel so pressured? Xue Fei wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, I don't know. I don't dare to breathe too loudly either. Xue Jian said, this is the aura of a superior. This is the pressure of an expert. If we don't work hard in cultivation, we won't even dare to breathe loudly in front of the captain. Ling Long said, read novels for free forever. That's right. What kind of people does the captain come into contact with? They are all saints and there are even peak saints. The saints all carry out the captain's orders. How can they not be powerful? Yun Huang said, work hard. Your foundations aren't bad. It won't be too difficult for you to achieve success in the future. I will come over every day. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can ask me. Xueshi said. After returning to the mansion, Knight Sorrow and his parents drank tea and chatted. This was the most relaxed time for Knight Sorrow. After resting for 2 days, Knight Sorrow brought the god-slaying team and his parents to the commander's residence in Grand Clarity region. Hu Xiao, who was guarding the commander's residence, told Knight Sorrow that everyone was to gather at Dongshan City. Knight Sorrow nodded and brought everyone to Dongshan City via the teleportation array. Not far away from the transportation formation, Dongshuan Square was packed with troops. The troops were orderly, and the realm of Enigma's men were among them as well. Knight Sorrow took out a teleportation crystal and cut a clone of it into the teleportation array. Then he looked at Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei nodded and handed Knight Sorrow a teleportation crystal clone. It was a clone of Dongshan City's teleportation crystal. Auntie Fei, wait for the teleportation formation's teleportation crystal to light up. Knight Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and teleported to Danding City. Then he rushed to the cliff where Taichuan was and set up a teleportation formation there. The underground space of Taichuan Canyon was too small. Even if there were many people, there was no place to set up a teleportation formation. After setting up the teleportation formation, Knight Sorrow inserted a clone of Dongshan City's teleportation crystal. A moment later, Long Xianxing and a group of saints arrived. Auntie Fei, arrange for someone to teleport here. I will go down and take a look. Knight Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and Long Xianxing and flew down to Taichuan Canyon. In the past, it was very difficult for Knight Sorrow to go down. With the improvement of his strength, Knight Sorrow only needed a moment to reach the entrance of Taichuan Canyon. At the bottom of the canyon, Knight Sorrow saw Hua Yunpeng meditating. Great Elder Hua is here. Knight Sorrow nodded to Hua Yunpeng. There is a hidden danger here. I will stay here and cultivate while watching. Do you have something to say? Hua Yunpeng looked at Knight Sorrow in shock. He could not see through Knight Sorrow's cultivation. Yes, to solve the hidden danger here, we have to completely solve the hidden danger of Taichuan Dimension. Knight Sorrow nodded to Hua Yunpeng. Then, Knight Sorrow shuttled back and forth in the teleportation formation. He found that he could control the law of nothingness and resist the law of Taichuan Dimension's suppression. Great Elder Hua, please go up and let the people above come down in batches. Knight Sorrow said to Hua Yunpeng. Hua Yunpeng nodded and flew up the canyon. A moment later, the saints of the 9 regions arrived at the bottom of the canyon. I will use my law of nothingness to resist the law of Taichuan Dimension's suppression. Everyone will enter through the teleportation formation formed by my law of nothingness. Night Sorrow's body flashed into the teleportation formation. Standing at the bottom of the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow twisted his hands. The law of nothingness rose and opened a teleportation formation. Then, the people from the 9 regions world and the profound mysteries realm entered the teleportation formation through Night Sorrow's law of nothingness. Night Sorrow rested 3 times before the people from the 9 regions world and the profound mysteries realm all passed through the teleportation formation. Let's rest for a while, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged to recover. After using his law of nothingness to resist the law of Taichuan dimension suppression for a long time, Night Sorrow's soul power was greatly depleted. An hour later, Night Sorrow had recovered to his peak state. Now, let's take the teleportation formation to the storm region where Clear Sky City is. That place is more important. We will start fighting there and then clear the area where Dongxiang City's spatial turbulence is. Night Sorrow explained his plan. There's a teleportation formation here? Xialanjun looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. I set it up the last time I came in. I thought it would be useful. It can save us the trouble of traveling a few million miles, Night Sorrow said. There's no need to say anything. You're ruthless enough. Let's get to work, Sky Underworld Saint said. Then Night Sorrow led everyone to the area where the spatial storm was. Night Sorrow saw that the spatial turbulence had weakened a lot. He should be able to pass through it. Next I will explain the plan. I will be busy here for a while. Everyone will split into a few groups to fight. Shueshi, you know the way. You will bring Long Xianxing Shang Saint and a group of people to the spatial turbulence in Dongxiang City. You must kill the 2 high-level nether beasts, Night Sorrow said to Shueshi. Understood. Shueshi nodded. Long Xianxing and Shang Luo also nodded. Saint Xian and Senior Lan will lead a group of people. Sky Underworld Saint, Grandpa, you will lead a group of people to sweep through the various regions. Safety first. I don't want to see anyone from our camp die. Also, gather here in 3 months. We are going to take down the passageway to the netherworld. Now, come here and draw a map of the Supreme River space. Night Sorrow took out a map and called over an array master to draw the map. Soon the teams were formed and the maps were obtained. The war will not end in a short time. This is also a training battle for us. We must be steady. Also, everyone make way for the spatial passageway to the netherworld. Night Sorrow gave another order. Then the teams set off. Each team was led by a peak saint. Night Sorrow made this arrangement because safety was the most important thing. Night Sorrow also left some people behind. True Ocean Saint, Nangan Saint, Jun Xuanji, Ren Tianji, and the members of the God-slaying team stayed behind. Senior True Ocean Saint, take these people and clean up the surroundings. Night Sorrow looked at the center of the spatial turbulence and said to True Ocean Saint. Chapter 862. You're really only in your 20s, Jun Xuanji said to Yishan as he looked at him. After this year I'll be 22, said Night Sorrow. My 13th brother is still young, said Tianyu. I'm going to cultivate. The rest of you stabilize this place. This is our foundation in Tai River. Auntie Fei, you can handle it, said Night Sorrow to Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow wanted to resolve this problem. Cleaning up Tai River's space was just a side benefit. Night Sorrow once more nodded to the God-slaying squad and the 3 women. Then he charged into the spatial storm. As for Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing, they were already in the same group as Yi Linghuan. The spatial storm was still very strong, but Night Sorrow didn't care. He just tempered his cultivation base in the storm. When he needed to recover, he would smash the spacetime pagoda into the ground. In any case, the spacetime pagoda was underground, so it didn't require a large amount of resources. As he cultivated, Night Sorrow approached the center of the spatial storm. Each time he would charge a certain distance forward. As Yi Shang cultivated the myriad Tao treasured tome, the effect of refining his soul with his body made Yi Shang's soul power more and more condensed. After advancing for 1 day, Yi Shan had ventured 50 kilometers into the turbulent space streams. The power of the spatial storms grew increasingly strong. However, Yi Shan felt that this was a better way to hone himself. If he were not in a hurry to head to the central region to check out the situation, Yi Shan would have chosen to cultivate here. Jun Xuanji was very shocked. She knew just how strong the chaotic space was, but Night Sorrow didn't come out. 2 days later, Night Sorrow saw something special. A huge mountain had appeared. Above the mountain was a crack in the sky. Night Sorrow could sense that his soul avatar was above the mountain. After half a day, Night Sorrow reached the foot of the mountain and began to climb. Climbing the mountain was very tiring and difficult because the mountain was surrounded by chaotic space. Look at Z chapter T Z network C. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had perseverance. After spending a day, Night Sorrow arrived halfway up the mountain. He saw an array formation halfway up the mountain. It was the 1000 Derivation Grand Array. The 1000 Derivation Great Array was the Clear Sky Saint King's ultimate array formation skill. Night Sorrow had the array diagram in his hands, so it was naturally not a problem for him to enter. He passed through the 1000 Derivation Great Array and continued climbing. Because of the existence of the Great Array of 1000 Derivations, the majority of the spatial storm was blocked. The spatial turbulence in the upper half of the mountain was weakened to the point that it was almost non-existent, and the spatial soul-devouring beast no longer existed. Without the obstruction of the spatial storms, Night Sorrow was able to climb up much faster. Moments later he reached the sky. It was then that Night Sorrow saw the 9-domain essence shield. After passing through the origin, Night Sorrow saw the energy body of the 9 realms origin energy. If I had known that you could survive down here, I would have directly sent you down here. The 9 realms origin energy clone communicated with Night Sorrow. Am I in Clear Sky City? Asked Night Sorrow. Yes. Clear Sky City's foundation is Clear Sky Mountain. Clear Sky Mountain is suppressing the part of the 9 realms that was pierced through, said the 9 realms origin energy. The 9 realms origin energy hoped that Night Sorrow could set up an array formation around Clear Sky Mountain to suppress the spatial storm's impact on Clear Sky Mountain. At the same time, it could block the spatial soul-devouring beast's threat to the 9 realms origin energy. Alright, I'll go take care of it later. Night Sorrow nodded. He took out the 1000 Derivation Illusory Formation and 1000 Derivation Killing Formation diagrams and started studying them. After studying them for 4 hours, Night Sorrow went to Clear Sky Mountain at the bottom of Clear Sky City to survey the terrain. Clear Sky Mountain occupied a huge area. Night Sorrow used 4 days to survey the terrain clearly. Then he began to set up the array formation. The Clear Sky Saint King's array formation was originally very powerful, but because Clear Sky City had appeared, it had become unstable. That was why the 9 realms origin energy felt threatened. Night Sorrow started to sharpen his cultivation and set up the array formation in the spatial turbulence. Setting up an array formation that enveloped Clear Sky Mountain was a huge project. However, Night Sorrow did not mind. He had a lot of time anyway. The only thing he used was the spirit stones to set up the array formation. In the past, Night Sorrow was a little short of spirit stones. However, after obtaining Jun Tianya's storage ring, Night Sorrow's resources were no longer a problem. After a month, Night Sorrow's true Qi cultivation had reached the middle stage of 9th level Saint. His myriad Dao treasured canon cultivation had reached the middle stage of 8th level spirit refinement. Most importantly, his soul power had reached a point where it could not be improved. Night Sorrow planned to level up. This was very important to him. Forming a pearl with his soul power was the foundation of becoming a saint. It was also the key to refining the Void Fate Pearl. After drinking a pot of tea in the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda, Night Sorrow began to cultivate in seclusion. Soul power was difficult to cultivate, but leveling up was similar to true Qi cultivation. It was not very difficult. The main problem was accumulation. Night Sorrow used 1 day to form the God Pearl. His spirit sea was bright as if there was a sun shining on it. The Void Fate Pearl revolved around the God Pearl. Just as Night Sorrow was about to stop cultivating, something strange happened. The Void Fate Pearl collided with Night Sorrow's God Pearl and fused into one. At this moment, Night Sorrow felt the existence of the Void Fiend space. The Void Fate Pearl recognized its master and the refinement was complete. Yishang knew that the Emptiness Fate Pearl had been truly refined. It truly belonged to him. Night Sorrow even felt that he could enter the Void Fiend space at any time. He knew that when he went out, he could control and refine the Void Fiend space. He could truly work hard to complete the 9-domain world. Then Yishang tried to activate the Nihility Fate Pearl. The Nihility Fate Pearl emitted a purple Nihility energy and Nihility law power to protect Yishang's divine sea and body. Night Sorrow was very excited. This was a milestone for his cultivation path. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to stabilize his cultivation and set up the array. 2 months later, Night Sorrow finished setting up the 1000 Derivation Array. With the activation of the array, there were no more spatial storms around Haotian Mountain. There was no longer any possibility of threatening the 9-domain origin shield. The spatial soul-devouring beast could not even get close, let alone devour the 9-domain origin chi. With the activation of the array, the 9-domain origin chi energy figure appeared in front of Night Sorrow again. Now I'm not in danger. You guys can handle the war matters. At the same time, Night Sorrow also obtained a strand of origin energy from the 9-domain origin chi. Night Sorrow asked the 9-domain origin chi how to refine a world. The 9-domain origin chi told Night Sorrow that this was a time-consuming process. One had to put the controllable origin pearl into the origin world and activate the origin pearl. This way, the origin pearl and the world would become one and be controlled by the controller. Chapter 863. I'm looking forward to your performance. The 9 regions' origin energy nodded to Night Sorrow and left. Its core was the Heaven Sealing Palace. Yishan also planned to go back because it wasn't far from the scheduled meeting time. It would be in the next few days. Passing through the spatial storms wasn't difficult for Night Sorrow. It took him 2 days to reach the meeting place. Night Sorrow had been cultivating. You've been gone for such a long time, Wu Lingfei grumbled to Yishang. Her heart was filled with worry. I've successfully dealt with the hidden danger. Spending some time was worth it. Other than that, my cultivation base has increased a lot, said Night Sorrow. Your cultivation base has increased quite well. How's your spiritual strength? Asked Wu Lingfei, looking at Night Sorrow's mid-9th rank cultivation base. Other people's spirit seas could probe him, but those who understood Night Sorrow didn't dare to probe his spirit sea. My spiritual strength has already condensed into a divine bead, but it's still in the stabilizing stage. Night Sorrow wouldn't hide anything from Wu Lingfei. As for Jun Xuanji, he wasn't afraid of her knowing. Even if she knew, so what? Your spiritual strength has condensed into a divine bead? That's great. Once you control the laws and your spiritual strength condenses into a divine bead, you'll be able to smoothly reach the Saint Realm, said Wu Lingfei excitedly. Chapter 51. There's no rush. How's everyone doing? Asked Night Sorrow. We've already cleared out the nether beasts in the surrounding tens of thousands of miles. However, the other 3 teams still haven't returned, said Jun Xuanji. When they come back, Auntie Fei crushed the message crystal to notify me. I still have some things to do, Yishan said to Wu Lingfei. All right then, go. Wu Lingfei nodded. She knew that unless there was something urgent, Night Sorrow wouldn't leave. Night Sorrow took a transportation formation to the Medicine Valley region. Then he went to the place where he had entered the void fiendish space. Sensing the void space's location, Night Sorrow cast Space Rend. He tore through space and began to travel through the turbulent flow of space. After traveling for some distance, Night Sorrow saw the void space's spatial barrier. Yishang used the spatial rend again to break the barrier of the empty fiendish space. He entered the empty fiendish space and controlled the emptiness fate pearl to leave his body. He controlled the emptiness fate pearl to enter the ground of the empty fiendish space and fuse with it. As the fusion progressed, Night Sorrow felt a sense of familiarity with the void fiend space. After refining the void fiendish space, Yishang returned to the 9-domain world. After walking around, he discovered that he could clearly feel the connection between him and the void fiendish space. He knew that when the void fate pearl and the void fiendish space completely merged, he could control the void fiendish space. Then Night Sorrow returned to the void space and rushed towards the place where he had obtained the void space rend. He felt that there would be spirit stones and crystal stones there. In the past, Night Sorrow would take a long time to get there. At that time he was only a 3rd Order Martial Saint. Now he was a 9th Order Martial Saint. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow arrived at the place. Night Sorrow put Shao Kong in his sleeves and let Shao Kong investigate. Soon, Shao Kong found a large amount of spirit stones and crystal stones on the lone mountain that had been blown up by the energy. However, Shao Kong advised Night Sorrow not to dig for them for now. Night Sorrow did not lack spirit stones. If he dug for them, the spirit chi in the void space would decrease. After thinking about it for a moment, Yishang felt that Shao Kong's words made sense. He did not lack crystals or spirit stones. As for the void attribute crystals, Yishang did not need them either. His current attributes were already saturated. Furthermore, with his void fate jewel in the future, he would have no problem replenishing his void attribute. After that, Night Sorrow walked around the void space. This was his territory. After walking around the void space, Night Sorrow felt that the connection between him and the void space was getting closer and closer. Even the resistance of flying had decreased a lot. After returning to Nine Domain World, Night Sorrow felt a lot more at ease. No matter what, there would be no problem in repairing Nine Domain World in the future. Even if the Great Massacre Calamity came early, the people of Nine Domain World would have a place to hide. This void space was his territory. No one else could enter. After that, Night Sorrow entered Taichuan and teleported to the outer region of the spatial storm. Is it done? Did it go smoothly? Wu Lingfei asked. It went smoothly, very smoothly. Senior Long Shenxing, how was your group? Night Sorrow looked at Long Shenxing, Shang Luo and the others. The results of the battle are not bad. We managed to kill 2 high-level nether beasts in the spatial turbulence near Dongxiang City. They were the 2 nether beasts that attacked our 9 regions world. Afterward, we also managed to kill some of them along the way. Long Shenxing said. The chaotic space ahead is the foundation of Clear Sky City. I've set up a formation there. The chaotic space and the spatial soul-devouring beasts will no longer be able to threaten our 9 domain world and the Heaven Sealing Palace. Night Sorrow also spoke of his results. That's great. When those 2 groups of people return, you can make the necessary arrangements. Right now, everything seems to be going in a good direction. Long Shenxing said happily. 4 days later, all the groups returned. They had killed quite a few nether beasts. Some of them had even obtained the inheritances of experts who had died during the Divine Seal War. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow looked at Xiaolanjun. Back then, Clear Sky Holy King's ancestor established the Night Moon Sky, Void Dao Holy King established the Void Dao Sky, and Central Prefecture Holy King established the Central Prefecture Palace. Now, the remnants of the Jianghu family are entrenched in the Central Prefecture Palace. They are the descendants of the Central Prefecture Holy King. Not really. The Central Prefecture Holy King was an ascetic cultivator. He didn't have any descendants. The Central Prefecture Palace is actually a sect. The ancestor of the Jianghu family was an elder of the Central Prefecture Palace. Perhaps he didn't die in battle back then and left the heavenly abode of the Central Prefecture Palace to the Jianghu family, said Xiaolanjun. The Central Prefecture Holy King died in battle for the 9 domain world. He was a wise man. If the Jianghu family is his descendant, it will be difficult for me to deal with them. Since that's the case, let's continue to kill. The Central Prefecture scripture is in my hands. It will be an inherited cultivation technique of the commander's mansion, said Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had been troubled by a question in his heart. That was the relationship between the Jianghu family and the Central Prefecture Holy King. If the Jianghu family was the descendant of the Central Prefecture Holy King, it would be immoral to kill them. Now that he knew that the relationship between the Jianghu family and the Central Prefecture Holy King wasn't close, he felt more at ease. Even a wise man like the Central Prefecture Holy King died in battle. If the ancestor of the Jianghu family is still alive, he must be a coward. There's no need to be polite to them, said Long Shenxing. I understand. In addition, I have some good news for everyone. I'm already working on the matter of repairing the 9 domain worlds. If we can finish it ahead of time, it will be much easier to resist the massacre, said Yishan. That's great news, said Heavenly Underworld Saint. Chapter 864. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone nodded. No one had any objections. In the last battle, Night Sorrow had displayed his might and prestige. Following that, Night Sorrow led his people to the Netherworld's channel. They slaughtered their way through, killing any nether beasts they saw. Night Sorrow knew that nether beasts were second-tier life forms in the Netherworld. The ones who ruled the Netherworld were the Nether race, and the nether beasts were just battle beasts under their rule. Night Sorrow didn't even have a chance to fight because there were too many saints and paragons. Ordinary battles didn't have anything to do with him. The Supreme River space takes up too much space. We've swept through it, but there are still quite a few nether beasts, said Wu Lingfei, who was by Night Sorrow's side. Don't worry. Once we block the channel from the Netherworld to the Supreme River space, we can spread out the net and slowly clear it out. We don't lack time. Our combat members also need to temper themselves, said Night Sorrow. If that's the case, it shouldn't be a problem. Back then, you said you were already working on repairing the 9 regions world. What's going on? Asked Wu Lingfei to Night Sorrow. I've already refined the Nihility Fate Pearl. This time, I went out to send the Nihility Fate Pearl to the Nihility Fiendish space so that it can fuse with the Nihility Fate Pearl. Once the fusion is complete, I'll be the master of the nihility fiendish space. At that time, the 9 regions world's laws will be complete, and the world's laws will be supreme. The mysterious heaven world won't be able to invade as they please, said Night Sorrow. Things really are going smoothly. Right now, we're racing against time to repair the 9 regions world before the slaughter. That'll make things much less troublesome. Wu Lingfei waved her jade-like arm and said. The group moved forward. At night, Yi Shang would order everyone to set up camp and then he would meditate to stabilize his cultivation. On this day, as soon as they set up camp and were drinking tea, Night Sorrow's body trembled. This was because he had established a connection with the first department. His clone in the Heaven-Sealing Grand Hall had been completed. At this time, in a special space within the Heaven-Sealing Temple, a man was standing there. This man was Night Sorrow's soul avatar. He waved his arm, and a green robe of energy appeared on his body. 7 VLP, it feels alright. It's just that I have a close connection with the Heaven-Sealing Palace and can't leave, the green-robed Night Sorrow muttered to himself. Night Sorrow's soul avatar was catalyzed by the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall and was closely related to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. At this moment he knew how to guard the 9-domain origin protective barrier. The situation of the great array outside was also reflected in his divine sense C. At this time, the 9-domain origin chi appeared in front of Night Sorrow. You have the ability to activate the 9-domain origin protective barrier and the outer 2 formations. However, during the catalyzing process, your body has become one with the core formation. You can't leave the 9-domain origin protective barrier. I understand. When I have time, I'll have my main body send over a spatial ring. It's a bit inconvenient. Night Sorrow stretched his body and sat down cross-legged to sense his body's condition. As for weapons, the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall can give you a king-class spear. You can say that you are invincible within the 9-domain origin protective barrier, said the 9-domain origin chi to Night Sorrow. I will firmly guard this place. Night Sorrow nodded. Work hard on your cultivation. Your situation is different from Clear Sky Sage King's. He is a remnant soul. You have become one with the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall's formation, so your lifespan is unlimited. As long as the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall is not destroyed, you will be undying. Your cultivation base will increase infinitely with your main body. The 9-domain origin chi then left. Undying and indestructible, the white-robed Night Sorrow muttered from within the camp. What did you say? Asked Wu Lingfei. My soul avatar has reached large success. Because it has become one with the core formation of the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, it is undying, said Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow then explained his soul avatar's situation. It can have children. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. Aunt Fei, your soul avatar can't? Asked Night Sorrow. It can't. The avatar's body is real, but its blood chi is different from the main body's. It can't reach that level. That's an ability that only the main body has. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Yi Shang nodded. He understood that this was the reason why the Heaven-Sealing Grand Hall had refined his blood essence into his soul clone. With a soul avatar that is equivalent to your main body, you'll have a layer of insurance. Wu Lingfei was happy for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He planned to send some things to his soul avatar later, such as robes, wine, and tea. His soul avatar also needed to live. It was no different from the main body. As they advanced, they killed their way through. But that had nothing to do with Night Sorrow. Half a month later, the group was very close to the Netherworld passageway. Yi Wuyo, who was scouting ahead, came back and told Yi Shang that the spatial passageway was filled with nether beasts and nether race people. At this time, they needed to come up with a strategy. Within the command tent, the commander's residence and the various saints were all present. We have to be extremely cautious in the battle at the spatial passageway. Does anyone have any thoughts? Asked Night Sorrow from the main seat. We can fight, but you'll have to come up with a strategy, said the heavenly underworld saint. Elder June, what do you think? Asked Night Sorrow. Then I'll tell you what I think. We'll only be able to defend ourselves by occupying the passage in the Supreme River Dimension. If we're going to fight, we'll have to take over both sides quickly, Jun Xuanji said. My thoughts are the same. If we want to occupy both sides of the spatial channel, we'll be able to attack and defend at any time. Right now, gather all the formation grandmasters and grandmasters. I'll stealthily sneak in and set up a grand formation without the other side noticing. After that, we'll all move out and take down both sides of the spatial channel, said Night Sorrow. Sneaking around again, muttered Jun Xuanji. This is called strategy. Isn't it good to start the battle without expending any energy? Asked Knight Sorrow with a frown. It's not bad. It's quite ruthless. Jun Xuanji nodded. He knew that Knight Sorrow had heaven-defying abilities and could silently break through spatial seals. That would be a decisive factor in the war between worlds. It was something that no one could defend against. Chapter 865. Then someone went to gather the formation masters. A moment later, a dozen or so people gathered outside the command tent. They were all formation masters and Jun Xuanji was standing in front of them. Why are you standing here? We're going to set up a formation so that the nether world can't come into contact with the spatial tunnel. The battle will take some time. Knight Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji with a frown. Jun Xuanji was beautiful without her veil, and she had the arrogance of a superior. However, Knight Sorrow knew that this woman was full of tricks, and it was better to stay away from her. I'm a formation master. Aren't you going to set up a formation? Jun Xuanji said confidently. On the GS section of the Zmost Zainu chapter, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said, we still need someone to set up a battle here. There are 2 vice commanders here and many Saint Seniors. There's nothing for me to do. I'll just help set up the formation, Jun Xuanji said. It's good to go. You're the elites of the 2 regions. If you work together, you'll be able to work together in the future, Xian Wenxiu said. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow nodded. He had to give Xian Wenxiu face. Xian Wenxiu had done a lot for the 9 regions world and the profound mysteries realm. Knight Sorrow waved his right hand and the spacetime pagoda enlarged. When the spacetime pagoda transformed into its original form, it was already dozens of feet tall. Little Kong told Knight Sorrow that as long as Knight Sorrow reached the Saint Realm, he would be able to control the spacetime pagoda. At that time he would be able to reach the clouds and be like a grain of sand in the ocean. Next, the formation masters entered the spacetime pagoda. Jun Xuanji did not hesitate and entered as well. Martial Uncle Grand Uncle Monarch Yun stabilized the situation here. Don't be discovered. If a nether beast approaches the camp, kill it, Knight Sorrow said to the Grand Uncle and Yun Tianlong. Then his body flashed as he charged forward. Knight Sorrow was extremely fast. Under the slashing of the spatial barrier, he left behind a series of afterimages. With his powerful soul power, he could easily avoid the nether beast Knight Sorrow. When he was 50 miles away from the spatial channel, Knight Sorrow quietly tore open space and started to travel through the turbulent space flow. With the power of the rules protecting his body, he didn't consume much energy. At the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Knight Sorrow became cautious. The soul flow passed through the spatial barrier, and Knight Sorrow discovered a few nether beast saints. Seizing the opportunity, Knight Sorrow unleashed a space crack, breaking through the space tunnel's barrier. His body flashed into the space tunnel's turbulent flow. The moment he entered, he waved his left hand and smoothed out the space crack. At this moment, a few nether beast saints with human bodies and wolf heads appeared. They had all sensed the energy fluctuations and came over to take a look. They didn't sense anything and returned to their original positions. Knight Sorrow's soul power also detected 2 special people. They were no different from humans, and the only difference was that they had a horn on their head. Knight Sorrow knew that they were from the nether race. After passing through the spatial channel, Knight Sorrow investigated and discovered that the netherworld's entrance was even more heavily guarded. There was a large hall near the entrance and there were many pavilions around it. After waiting for a while, Knight Sorrow took advantage of a gap in the patrols to use a space crack. He broke through the barrier between the spatial channel and the netherworld's turbulent flow. Without being detected, he entered the netherworld's turbulent flow and continued to travel. After traveling dozens of miles, Knight Sorrow broke through the spatial barrier and entered the spacetime pagoda. What's the situation? Asked Jun Xuanji. We've entered the netherworld, but their defenses are very strong, said Knight Sorrow as he took out a tea set and brewed tea. Then we'll have to be careful when setting up the formation. We can also set up the formation a bit further away from the spatial channel and slowly push our way to the entrance, said Jun Xuanji. Stability is the most important thing. I'll set up the illusion formation in a bit, and then everyone can leave. Does anyone have any suggestions for the formation? The stronger, the better, and the more complicated, the better. Don't let others break it in a few moves, said Knight Sorrow. At this moment, everyone turned to look at Ho. He was a formation grandmaster. Young master, this subordinate has recently studied the ancient formation diagram cosmic formation. I have some insights that can be used to set it up, said Inho. Then tell everyone how to set up the formation. Night Sorrow nodded to Inho. It's very complicated and only I can command it. Everyone will set up the formation in different positions. Everyone has a foundation in formations, so it's fine as long as you don't get the formation wrong, said Inho. Alright. Our formation strategy is to first set up the illusion formation, and then set up the formation inside the illusion formation. Safety and secrecy are the most important things, said Night Sorrow. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone nodded. Next, Night Sorrow exited the space-time pagoda and moved closer to the spatial channel. There were still around 20 li left. When he could no longer get any closer, Night Sorrow brought out some spirit stones and set up an illusion formation with a radius of tens of Jianghu. Next he sent everyone out. Everyone is now inside an illusion formation. Start setting up the formation. After setting up an area, continue setting up the illusion formation to push forward, ordered Night Sorrow. Next, Inho began arranging for everyone to set up the formation. Night Sorrow was also busy. However, he was setting up an illusion formation to increase the area where everyone could move around. Although the process of setting up the illusion formation was somewhat slow, it was still ongoing. 8 days. After 8 days, they set up a great formation with a radius of over 20 li around the spatial channel. The isolation of the formation is complete. Continue increasing the thickness of the formation, said Night Sorrow to Inho. At any rate, as long as the formation was not activated, the other party would not notice. Next, they continued setting up the formation. Fortunately, the Grand Domain formation was set up in succession. Once it was activated, it would activate all at once. Those who did not understand formations would be trapped and killed if they entered. Half a month later, only the palace and a few buildings remained at the spatial channel's entrance. There were no more formations around them. Most importantly, there was no way to approach them. This mission is complete. After activating the formation, you guys enter the space-time pagoda. We'll head back and start the battle, said Night Sorrow to Inho. Inho nodded. He immediately activated the Grand Domain formation, which was composed of over 10,000 individual formations. Following the activation of the formation, winds and clouds rose and white mist spread out around the spatial channel's entrance. With the exception of the palace and the buildings, the rest of the space was enveloped in white mist and roiling energy. Don't resist. I'll take you all away, said Night Sorrow to the people beside him. Next, his soul power surged out to take everyone into the space-time pagoda. Next, he utilized Spatial Ren to enter the spatial turbulence and charge towards the spatial channel's entrance. Chapter 866. After Night Sorrow arrived at the spatial tunnel's entrance, he used Spatial Ren to break through the spatial barrier and rushed into the spatial tunnel's turbulent flow. As soon as he entered the turbulent flow of space, he was attacked from behind. However, because of the turbulent flow of space, Night Sorrow didn't suffer much damage. After rushing out of the spatial passage, Night Sorrow broke through the spatial barrier of the Supreme River Space and entered the spatial turbulence to fly. At this time, the interior and exterior of the spatial passage were in chaos. The Netherworld world already knew that they were under attack. Night Sorrow quickly shuttled through the spatial turbulence and arrived at the campsite of the Nine Regions world and the Profound Mysteries realm after a while. After tearing open space and returning to the real world, Night Sorrow issued a battle order. That was to surround the spatial passageway and slaughter the Nether Realm forces. Then, through the spatial passageway, they would occupy the other party's spatial passageway. Following Night Sorrow's order, the people of the two realms rushed toward the spatial passage under the lead of the saints. At this time, the Nine Regions world had 4 pinnacle saints, a few high-level saints, and even more mid-level and low-level saints. After a while, they surrounded the spatial passage and began to kill. With the reincarnation spear in hand, Night Sorrow's attacks were deadly. As long as they were not saints, they would not be able to resist his violent attacks. In less than an hour, the Netherworld beasts and people of the Netherworld race at the spatial passage were killed by the elites of the Nine Regions world and the Profound Mysteries realm. Now let's kill our way over and occupy the other side. Then we will continue to stabilize the formation. Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the spatial passage. The saints of the two realms who were worried that Night Sorrow would be in danger hurriedly followed. The others also quickly followed behind. On the Netherworld world side of the spatial passage, there was an 8-star saint from the Netherworld race guarding it. The rest were 3 mid-level saints and some venerables. This 8-star saint from the Netherworld race was directly controlled by Long Xuanqing's chaotic space and began to kill him. The other saints took control of the spatial passage like the autumn wind sweeping the fallen leaves. Following that, Night Sorrow brought the Array Masters out of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Protector Entropy, continue strengthening the Array formation. We must make this place impregnable. After giving his instructions, Night Sorrow passed through the teleportation array and flew off into the distance. After flying for 20,000 li, he set up a teleportation array in a secluded mountain range. Then he changed directions and flew for another 100,000 li before setting up another teleportation array. Night Sorrow set up the teleportation array, placed the teleportation crystal, and placed a spare teleportation crystal. In other words, as long as Night Sorrow returned to the spatial passage and set up the teleportation array, he could teleport back and forth. After doing all this, Night Sorrow returned to the spatial passageway. At this moment, the spatial passageway was surrounded by the Netherworld's army. It was an army of venerables and there was a saint-level commander in the middle. Ignoring the enemies charging at him, Night Sorrow cut open space and entered the space turbulence. He passed through the array area and arrived at the entrance of the space tunnel. The people of the 9 Domains world were setting up camp at the entrance of the spatial passageway. Array Masters were reinforcing the array formations. Night Sorrow, where did you go? Xiaolanjun asked as she looked at Night Sorrow. I went to a secluded place in the enemy camp and set up 2 teleportation arrays, Night Sorrow said. Make sure they're well hidden. Don't be like me. Once the teleportation array was discovered, you dug a hole and waited to jump into it. Jun Xuanji recalled how he had been tricked last time. I won't. I also set up an illusion array outside. As long as the illusion array is broken, the teleportation array will naturally be destroyed. Night Sorrow smiled. He had long since left a backup plan. That's good. Jun Xuanji nodded. Now that the 9 Domains world was closely connected to the Profound Mysteries realm, she didn't want to lose. The enemy is really strong. If we don't have the initiative and fight them, we won't be able to defeat them, said Long Xianxing. Just now, Night Sorrow had gone to set up the teleportation array. Under Entropy's lead, they had used the array formation to probe the Netherworld's strength. As the saying goes, in a battle of wits and courage. Now that we've occupied this place, we have the initiative. We can use any strategy, Night Sorrow said. As Night Sorrow spoke, he began to set up the teleportation array. Once the array was set up, the teleportation crystal lit up. Okay, we can teleport at any time. Should we send someone to scout for information? Yi Linghuan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. That's a little dangerous. The enemy is very strong, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Grandpa can scout for information. If you meet the enemy, just use spatial rend. You can escape from the spatial turbulence, Yi Linghuan said. Can't saints directly suppress spatial rend? Last time, the saint from the Profound Mysteries realm suppressed my spatial rend and closed it, Night Sorrow said. P is the only one, the other C and BW are all pirated. Haha, that's because you didn't use the power of laws to protect yourself. Grandpa has the power of laws. No one can instantly suppress me, said Yi Linghuan with a smile. Then I'll go with Saint Skysplitter, said the Flying Tiger Saint. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow nodded. That was because information was very important. Nodding at Night Sorrow, Yi Linghuan and the Flying Tiger Saint took the teleportation array and left to scout for information. Yi Linghuan and the Flying Tiger Saint left. Yi Wuyo also volunteered to go. In the end, everyone decided to have Yi Wuyo and Xiaolanjun go together to scout for information. Protector Entropy, shouted Night Sorrow after sending the 2 teams of scouts away. Junior Master, subordinate has arrived. Entropy ran out of the teleportation array. Set up a spatial ceiling formation near the spatial channel. If we can do it, others might be able to do it as well. That's why we can't allow the space around the spatial channel to be torn apart, said Night Sorrow. I'll have to think about it. I can strengthen the spatial channel, but directly sealing it is difficult. That's not my area of expertise. I'll need some time, said Entropy. Alright, we have to hurry. Night Moon Sovereign, meditate everywhere and pay attention to the spatial fluctuations, ordered Night Sorrow. There's no need to go through so much trouble. I know how to set up a spatial ceiling formation, said Jun Xuanji. Then what are we waiting for? Set it up on both sides of the spatial channel, said Night Sorrow to Jun Xuanji. Following this, Jun Xuanji went to set up the spatial ceiling formation. The grand uncles arranged for people to set up camp. There were people standing guard on both sides of the spatial channel. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea in the command tent. As he drank, he thought about whether there were any holes in his strategy. Night Sorrow, there really is a large gap between our strength and theirs. Let alone the others, just the Netherworld warriors outside the teleportation array are not to be underestimated, said Heavenly Underworld Saint to Night Sorrow. Don't worry. There's no such thing as a dead end. If we're not strong enough, we'll just wait. In any case, the initiative is in our hands, said Night Sorrow. The others nodded. They all knew that this was the right strategy. They had seized the initiative in the first battle. Otherwise, if they had fought in the Supreme River space, it would have been a battle to the death. That was something no one wanted to face. Soon, Entropy came to report that the Netherworld Realms people were still gathering, but none of the formation masters were able to break the formation. Several formation masters had tried to break the formation, but before Entropy and the others could do anything, they were killed by the formation. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that right now they could only see if the Grand Cycle formation could hold back the Netherworld Realms people. If it could, then they could stabilize the situation. If it couldn't, then they would have to think of other strategies. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.